But my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talking shit, don't get caught in it. I'll be popping off and hit your ass, dropping all your shit. Yeah, I promise this, I got promises. You ain't stopping this, cross my shit, you'll be knocked unconscious, bitch. That's the consequence, I got this, I will not quit. Man, I'm on it, honest, I'm gonna launch quick, then I'm gone. It's just a matter of time before I'm over the climb and moving under my prime. Just quit my 9 to 5, I'm rocking, and they watching, cause it's shocking. Dropping all these top 10 songs, so stopping. It's time to live my life, it's time to live, not die. Wish I could slow down time and just enjoy the climb.
What is up, people? So last night I did a little live stream. Didn't really pan out too much of the discussion that I had on the title, so I changed it. But today we're going to talk about gravity, or as some of you in the chat like to call it, unicorn farts. Either way, unicorn farts exist, and it's what makes things go down 9.8 meters per second. So again, I know you guys are probably gonna hate to hear this, but I'm gonna finish up that lecture. It's only like 10 minutes left in it, and then we'll start gravity.
This bump here is further out than here, and that this also has a new dot here. I have found better examples, but we're unable to produce a slide. There is one example of a star patch, a light that grew in a place within 200 days. So that when it was in the same kind of condition of a gas cloud, when the gas collects too much together by gravitation, stars are born. And this is the beginning of new stars. So the stars belch out dirt and gases when they explode sometimes, and the dirt and gases then collect back again and make new stars. Sounds like perpetual motion. I now turn to the subject I meant to introduce, which was the experiments on the small scale to see whether things really attract each other. And I hope now that the next slide does indicate, this is the second try, yeah, Cavendish's experiment. The idea was to hang by a very, very fine quartz fiber a rod with 2 balls, and then put 2 large lead balls in the positions indicated here next to it on the side. Then, because of the attraction of the balls, there would be a slight twist of the fiber. It had to be done so delicately because the gravitational force between ordinary things is very, very tiny indeed, and there it was. And it was possible then to measure the force between these 2 balls. Cavendish called his experiment weighing the Earth. We're pedantic and careful today. We wouldn't let our students say that. We would have to say they're measuring the mass of the Earth. But the reason he said that is the following. By a direct experiment, he was able to measure the force and the 2 masses and the distance, and thus determine the gravitational constant. You say, yes, but we have the same situation on the Earth. We know what the pull is, and we know what the mass of the object pulled is, and we know how far away we are. But we don't know either the mass of the Earth or the constant, but only the combination. So by measuring the constant and knowing the facts about the pull of the Earth, the mass of the Earth could be determined. So indirectly, this experiment was the first determination of how heavy or how massive is the ball on which we stand. It's a kind of an amazing achievement to find that out, and I think that's why Cavendish named his experiment that way instead of determining the constant in the gravitational equation, weighing the Earth. He incidentally was weighing the sun and everything else at the same time, because the pull of the sun is known in the same manner. Now, one other test of the law of gravitation is very interesting, and that is the question as to whether the pull is exactly proportional to the mass. If the pull is exactly proportional to the mass and the reaction to forces, the motions induced by forces, the changes in velocity, are inversely proportional to the mass, that means that two objects of different mass will change their velocity in the same manner in a gravitational field. Or two different things, no matter what their mass, in a vacuum will fall the same way toward the Earth. That's Galileo's old experiment from the Leaning Tower. I took my young son of 2.5 to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and now every time a guest comes, he says, Leaning Tower. So, anyhow, it means, for example, that in a satellite, a man-made satellite, an object inside will go around the Earth in the same kind of an orbit as a satellite on the outside, and thus float in the middle, apparently. So that this fact that the force is exactly proportional to the mass and that the reactions are inversely proportional to the mass has this very interesting consequence. The question is, how accurate is it? And it has been measured by an experiment by a man named Voss in 1909, and very much more recently and more accurately by Dickey, and it is known that 1 part in 10,000 million, the mass is exactly proportional. The forces are exactly proportional to the mass. How it's possible to measure with that accuracy, I wish I had the time to explain, but I'm afraid I cannot. It's a remarkably clever. I'll give a hint, Howard. I'll give one hint there. Suppose that you wanted to measure whether it's true for the pull of the sun. You know the sun is pulling us all. It pulls the Earth too. But suppose you wanted to know whether you had a piece of lead here and a piece of copper here, or polyethylene and lead. It was first done with sandalwood. Now it's done with polyethylene. Whether the pull is exactly proportional to the inertia. The Earth is going around the sun, so these things are thrown out by inertia, and they're thrown out to the extent that these two objects have inertia. But they're attracted to the sun to the extent that they have mass in the attraction law. So if they're attracted to the sun in a different proportion than they're thrown out by inertia, one will be pulled toward the sun and the other away. And so hanging on another one of those Cavendish quartz fibers, the thing will twist toward the sun. It doesn't twist to this accuracy, so we know that the sun's attraction for these two objects is exactly proportional to their centrifugal effect, which is inertia. So the force of attraction on an object is exactly proportional to its coefficient of inertia. In other words, its mass. I should say something about the relation of gravitation to other forces, to other parts of nature, other phenomena in nature, and I'll have more to say of a general quality later. But there is one thing that's particularly interesting, and that is that the inverse square law appears again. It appears in the electrical laws, for instance, that electricity also exerts forces inversely as the square of the distance, this time between charges. And one thinks perhaps inverse square of the distance has some deep significance. Maybe gravity and electricity are different aspects of the same thing. No one has ever succeeded in making gravity and electricity different aspects of the same thing. Today, our theories of physics, the laws of physics, are a multitude of different parts and pieces that don't fit together very well. We don't understand the one exactly in terms of the other. We don't have one structure from which all is deduced. We have several pieces that don't quite fit exactly yet. And that's the reason why in these lectures, instead of having the ability to tell you what the law of physics is, I have to talk about the things that are common to the various laws, because we don't understand the connection between them. But what's very strange is that there are certain things that are the same in both. But now let's look again at the law of electricity. The law goes inversely as the square of the distance. But the thing that is remarkable is the tremendous difference in the strength of the electrical and gravitational laws. People who want to make electricity and gravitation out of the same thing will find that electricity is so much more powerful than gravity that it's hard to believe they could both have the same origin. Now, how can I say one thing is more powerful than another? It depends upon how much charge you have and how much mass you have. I'm certainly, you can't talk about how strong gravity is by saying I take a lump of such and such a size, because you chose the size. If we try to get something that nature produces her own pure number that has nothing to do with inches or years or anything to do with our own dimensions, we can do it this way. If we take the fundamental particles, such as an electron, any different ones will give different numbers, but to get an idea of the number, take electrons. 2 electrons, a fundamental particle. It's an object. It's not something I don't have to tell you what units I measure in. It's 2 particles, the fundamental particles. And they repel each other inversely as the square of the distance due to electricity. And they attract each other inversely as the square of the distance due to gravitation. Question: what is the ratio of the gravitational force to the electrical force? And that is illustrated on the next slide. The ratio of the gravitational attraction to the electrical repulsion is given by a number with 42 digits and goes off here. This is written very carefully out, so that's 42 digits. Now, therein lies a very deep mystery. Where could such a tremendous number come from? That means if you ever had a theory from which both of these things are to come, how could they come in such disproportion? From what equation has a solution which has, for one, 2 kinds of forces, an attraction and a repulsion, with that fantastic ratio? People have looked for such a large ratio in other places. They're looking for a large number. They hope, for example, that there's another large number. And if you want a large number, why not take the diameter of the universe to the diameter of a proton? Amazingly enough, it also is a number with 42 digits. And so an interesting proposal is made that this ratio is the same as the ratio of the size of the universe to the diameter of a proton. But the universe is expanding with time. And that would mean the gravitational constant is changing with time. And although that's a possibility, there's no evidence to indicate that it's in fact true, and there are several difficulties, partial indications that it doesn't, that the gravitational constant has not changed in that way. So this tremendous number remains a mystery. I must say, to finish about the theory of gravitation, 2 more things. One is that Einstein had to modify the laws of gravitation in accordance to his principles of relativity. The first was, one of the principles was that effects cannot occur instantaneously, while Newton's theory said that the force was instantaneous. He has to modify Newton's laws. They have very small effects, these modifications. One of them is all masses fall. Light has energy, and energy is equivalent to mass, so light should fall. And that should mean that light going near the sun is deflected. It is. And also the force of gravitation is slightly modified in his theory, so that the laws slightly change, very, very slightly, and it is just the right amount to account for the slight discrepancy that was found in the movement of Mercury. Finally, with connection to the laws of physics on a small scale, we have found that the behavior of matter on a small scale obeys laws so different, very different than things on a large scale. And so the question is, well, how does gravity look on a small scale? What is called the quantum theory of gravity? There is no quantum theory of gravity today. People have not succeeded completely in making a theory which is consistent with the uncertainty principles and the quantum mechanical principles. I'll discuss these principles in another lecture. Now, finally, you will say to me, yes, you told us what happens, but what is this gravity? Where does it come from, and what is it? Do you mean to tell me that the planet looks at the sun, sees how far it is, takes the inverse of the square of the distance, and then decides to move in accordance with that law and move? In other words, although I've stated a mathematical law, I haven't given you no clue as to the mechanism. I will discuss the possibility of doing this in the next lecture, which is the relation of mathematics to physics. But finally, in this lecture, I would like to remind, just at the end here, to emphasize some characteristics that the gravity has in common with the other laws that we have mentioned as we passed along. The first is that it's mathematical in its expression. The others are that way too. We'll discuss that next time. Second, it's not exact. Einstein had to modify it. We know it isn't quite right yet because they have to put the quantum theory in. That's the same with all our other laws. They're not exact. There's always an edge of mystery. There's always a place that we have some fiddling around to do yet. That, of course, is not a property, probably not a property. It may or may not be a property of nature, but it certainly is common with all the laws as we know them today. It may be only a lack of knowledge. But the most impressive fact is that gravity is simple. It is simple to state the principle completely and have not left any vagueness for anybody to change the ideas about. It's simple and therefore it's beautiful. It's simple in its pattern. I don't mean it's simple in its action. The motions of the various planets and the perturbations of one on another can be quite complicated to work out. Or to follow how all those stars in the globular cluster move is quite beyond our ability. It's complicated in its actions, but not in the basic pattern or the system underneath the whole thing, as that's a simple thing. That's common in all our laws. They all turn out to be simple things, although complex in their actual actions. Finally comes the universality of the gravitational law, the fact that it extends over such enormous distances. That Newton, in his mind worrying about the solar system, was able to predict what would happen in an experiment of Cavendish, where Cavendish's little model of the solar system, the two balls attracting, has to be expanded 10 million times to become the solar system. And then 10 million times expanded once again, and we find the galaxies attracting each other by exactly the same law. Nature uses only the longest threads to weave her patterns, so that each small piece of her fabric reveals the organization of the entire tapestry. Thank you.
So there you have it. In my opinion, a fucking excellent lecture. Again, the link's down at the bottom in my descriptions. Please go check that out. It's a if you sit and listen to it, and you listen to it for about, say, 3 or 4 times, you'll really get it. I did. And I'm just making sure you guys can hear me.
I did get it.
Hang on, so there you have it. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure my mic was on. So you had done something that I never thought you'd do. For those of you, for those that don't know, this is Jay Alex. He kind of does some of the intro music, kind of, and like he's like family, and like I never thought he would like ever call me out because he's not very smart, but he tries. What's up, Jay?
Hello, Swan G.
You're gonna call me out in my own chat now, huh?
Yes, that is most definitely how it has to be done.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to put words in your mouth or force you to be doing something you shouldn't be doing like this.
No, Swan G, no.
All right, so I'm gonna tell everyone right now. I know how this is gonna go, and yes, I won't be making a tombstone for Jay Alex. He's family. I don't want him under the ground yet. But I definitely don't think we're gonna need a moderator. Would you agree on that?
No, I don't think we do.
I don't think so either. Don't worry, people. This will be nice, sweet, and quick. So we'll get the panel open by like 3 minutes, and we'll go from there. So I'm guessing you want to talk gravity. Or I'm sorry. Unicorn farts.
Unicorns. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know how you like ancient animals. I prefer unicorns.
And not very people know that. I have my doubts about the dinosaur age of everything. Not that they didn't exist, but dealing with flat earthers and talking dinosaurs is a bad idea.
Yes,
so early in my venture of flat earth, before I was even a flat earther, I realized that instead of saying dinosaurs, what you need to say to flat earthers are ancient animals. They can't refute it. It's true. There's nothing to lie about it. It's not, word salad, it's literally what they are. They are ancient animals. So I suggest all Globers from now on, if dinosaurs comes up, correct them. Say ancient animals, and they will have nothing left to say.
Yes, good job.
Yes.
Proud.
Okay. So what kind of questions or issue do you have with gravity?
Okay.
Because
I
wait,
think
and I'm gonna interrupt you because there's something I don't think I've ever heard your version of what the hell that is.
so. All right. So I've been in the astronomy kind of area for like years and years and years. I was playing Universe Sandbox, Kerbal Space Program. I still play those games, but I always understood how gravity worked, but I just didn't think it applied to reality because I couldn't. Like, yeah, I get, oh, jump out a window, watch you fall, or let me drop the apple, but I don't understand. I don't see that. I don't think it has to be that difficult
What do you mean that has to be that difficult?
because, um, okay, so if you, let's say, for instance, because I just believe that the air is not strong enough to pick you up, so therefore you don't, you don't just float up, as people say. Oh, well, then why don't we all just fly up? If that makes
Oh,
sense.
so you're saying okay? So you're saying that we're just here, and it's just that there aren't any other elements that would allow us to be floating off the ground.
Well, let me ask this: why would we fly up? Now, let's go back. Let's say me and you are the first people put here. Period. There's nobody else. There's no NASA. There's nobody else. No flat Earth. We start out as okay. We see that we are on a surface.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we know. We're on the surface. 24 hours go past. We see the sun go up, sun go down. Then we see the moon come out. So we see we're on the surface. We wouldn't naturally assume that there's a force pulling us down because we don't feel it.
Absolutely not. You're correct on that.
So that's pretty much because the core beliefs, well, not belief, but the core things that come from me believing in what I believe in is that I observe everything around me to move and I don't feel myself moving. Therefore, why should I believe otherwise? Because if I believe otherwise, then that means that I have to believe what somebody else said.
Okay, but you would also agree that, and let's go back to those times. Um, we're walking around and we want to figure something out, or better yet, no, we're walking around and we need to figure out a better hunting method. Problem is that we don't leave where we're at, and one of us decides we're gonna go and we're gonna go explore. We're gonna go see what's over the ridge, or
Right,
over
right.
those mountains, because can't see. Obviously, there's mountains in the way. So you notice I walk off, but you're also noticing I haven't got to those mountains yet. I'm disappearing, and it's kind of freaking you out because where's half of my body? I've never seen this before. Kind of freaking out a little bit. I get back, and you're like, "Hey, dude, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "Before you even got to the fucking mountains, half your body disappeared." And you're like, "I'm like, dude, you're crazy." And you're like, "No, no, for real." And I'm like, "Dude, you're fucking crazy." You walk off to show me, and you get a certain distance before you get to the mountains, and I see that half your body's cut off, and I'm like, "Oh shit, something's up." You get back to me. you get back to me, and you're like, "Well," I'm like, "Damn, half your body was gone." And we look at each other and go, "But half our bodies aren't gone. What the fuck? We got to figure this out." And then so we notice as you get further and further away from the bottom to your half of your body starts disappearing as you walk away. We're trying to figure that out, and we're like, "Fuck it, who cares? Never mind." And we tell our kids. Okay, we tell our kids about it. They tell their kids about it. They tell their kids about it. They tell their kids about it. And then all of a sudden, there's this smart guy, and he has a kid, and his kid comes up and goes, "Hey guys, I know the answer to that." And you're like, "What?" And it's a group of them, like 10 kids now. And this one kid's like, "I know the answer." And they're like, "What is it?" And you go, "Hey, we live on a curved surface." And they're like, motherfucker, get out of here. And he's like, no, 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 no. I've been watching you guys walk away, and I noticed half of your bodies were disappearing, and I couldn't figure it out either. So what I did is I got in between from start point A to point B, and I noticed only half of your body. So your knees was the only part missing. So I started like doodling in the on sand and shit. And you're like, what the fuck's a doodle? And you're like, a picture, bro. And like, I've been, I've been kind of like doing little doodles, and I figured out that we live on a curved surface. And you guys are like, no fucking way. And I'm like, yes way. And you go, well, damn. We didn't do what that guy did, but that guy figured it out. Do we all need to do it? And you're like, no. Here, look, I'll show you my work. I even made up a way that you guys can make sure that I did my work correctly. And they're like, what do you call it? And you're like, the caveman method. And when all said and done, yeah. When all said and done, the 10 cavemen didn't have to do it themselves. They had got the opportunity to listen to only one person who figured out how to calculate that, and he showed you his work.
Okay, but for that, I offer this. So you think that they will automatically assume that that what they're standing on as a whole would be curved? Wouldn't they assume first that the land would be uneven, or it would be some sort of inconsistencies with the land beneath
Well,
them?
yeah, of course. But they like to live they lived on it on like a flat of a surface as they could, so they could see all around them because they were scared of like saber-toothed tigers and California bears and shit. Yeah, so they like to live on flat ground. That's what the problem is, man.
Because okay, look, that's the issue. Like, that's to assume that the whole thing, because let's say we assume that all the continents are in the same place they are right
Whoa,
now.
whoa, whoa, whoa! We don't know what continents yet, man. We just figured out that there's more. There's
No, I'm
more to
saying
our
is,
flat. Oh, we're talking reality now.
yeah, like
Okay, okay.
no, like let's say for that time everything is where it is now. So now let's say we were put in, like, say Texas.
Mhm.
So in Texas, you can see a lot of stars at night. You can see you see plenty of things in the sky. You see everything move.
Yeah,
And Texas
UFOs and
is
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and Texas, there's places where you go to the right place and you can see miles and miles and miles of land, and you see all kinds of
Why do we gotta use
uneven
Texas?
terrain. Yeah, because Texas is nice to prove this point.
No, it's not. I hate Texas.
Yes, Texas is beautiful.
No,
You see miles
Texas
and
kiss my
miles and
ass.
miles of land going up and down, up and down, up and down. So then, how would you prove that the land beneath you curves into, well, you didn't say ball, so how
No,
would
we don't live
you?
on a ball. We live on a
Yeah.
sphere. An
Okay.
abloid sphere.
Yeah.
LA, which is due to gravity. Go ahead.
But yeah, how would, if you as a person who just got on Earth, you look out.
Wait. Did I just get here or confused? Because if I got here, I know it's a sphere. I mean, if I was in space, I saw that shit.
What?
You said just got on Earth, so I'm assuming you meant flew in, from space.
No, you came from whatever evolution teach. You came from water or whatever you. You know what they say.
They didn't say monkeys.
Yeah. Oh well.
uh, uh,
But like, don't like the root of evolution come
Damn, we
from
just
the
went
sea?
3 subjects deep.
You get it.
Uh,
Monkey,
oh, that's
fish,
cool.
monkey,
Uh,
human.
yeah.
You went fish, monkey, human.
Fish. No. We went. Yeah. Fuck it. We'll say fish. Go ahead.
Yeah, fish, monkey, human. Now let's say Texas looking out. You see a lot of curved land going up and down, up and down. Not curved as in like, oh, I see a curve, but you see curved land as you see uneven land
Okay,
all
you ready?
around
You ready for this? You ready?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for
Here we
it.
go. So we came from as fish, right? And when we were fish, we were like, damn, good thing we live on flat water. Or in flat water. And they're like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Hang on, I'm not done. Hang on. And then we one day a fish jumped out the water and went, hoo hoo, and he became a monkey. That monkey was like, damn, that water looks flat, but I don't think it is. Because monkeys were geniuses
What?
back.
Wait a minute. Wait a
Dude,
minute. Before
hey,
you proceed.
hang on.
Before you proceed.
Hey, I'm saying right now, if fish can jump out the water and become monkeys, I'm telling you right now, a monkey is a genius. What?
Wait a minute. So the monkey came out like, okay, I don't think the water is flat, even though the monkey can see that the water is flat.
No. Remember, he says it looks flat, but he doesn't think it is.
Right. So he
How
doesn't
do you think
believe his
Einstein? How do
eyes.
you think Newton, Galileo, Newton, Einstein? How do you think they all got these ideas? The fucking monkey, dog. You didn't know that?
No, one of them got hit in the head with an apple.
Newton. Yeah. That was
gravity.
No, that wasn't gravity. Well, see, I forgot. My bad. They named the monkey Gravity. The monkey was in the tree. The monkey was in the tree because monkeys play in the trees and shit.
Right.
And he actually kicked the apple, and it landed on Newton's head. And Newton was like, gravity. And everyone thought they were talking about why the apple fell as a force. But they didn't know that the monkey had just watched Star Wars and was pretending to have the force.
Well, you see what happened in the story, right? It took him to get hit in his head to believe gravity.
No. It took him to get hit in his head to want to think about why he got hit in the head.
But then,
see, that's just a story. But you got to remember, that's just a story, because you do know that Newton was a scientist and he was trying to figure shit out. What do you call it? Astrologist? I don't know. He's a bunch of little things, but he was doing that stuff before he got hit. It just so happened that he got an epiphany when he did.
Well, he also didn't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Some people like apples and shit. That's why. How do you think people started dipping apples into peanut butter?
How do you think apple juice was made? Look, no, apple juice is flat. Apple juice is flat. Apple juice is flat.
Nah, you ever had apple cider?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh, you should. It's not flat.
See, that's probably why I haven't had it.
Yeah, it's gross. But I'm saying it's not. It's just because you perceive it to be flat doesn't mean it's always flat.
All right, look. Go get a glass.
I'm opening up the panel, Jay. I see this jar.
Just put water in it. Oh, get a glass, put water in it, and just let it. Just watch it, observe it.
Mm-hmm. For how long?
That would be a beautiful experiment for the globe community.
For how long?
I'll say 10 seconds.
Yeah, gotcha. What's up, farmers? And I'm going to tell you guys now, that was my favorite debate I've ever done. Jay, thank you.
How fucking weird was that?
Congratulations.
What did you say, farmers?
How weird was that conversation, eh?
That was a normal conversation between me and Jay.
Yes.
Was it?
Right.
Oh
yeah, that's my brother right there. That's the kind of conversations we've had. Hours of that shit. That's fun.
Yes, it's magnificent.
Get out of here, Earths.
Hey, here's the cat queen.
Wait, cat queen? No, she's my god. Queen. She's not a cat queen. What the hell?
Sean, does that ring a bell?
What? I have some kittens.
Yes, she does. Have you got all three yet?
Yeah, well, yeah. They're all saved now, all four. So the mom and the three
you've got the mother as well.
Yeah, once I had all three kittens, I used them in a trap to lure the mother, and then I got all four.
Oh, cool. Well done.
It's a spring trap. So she goes in there to get at her babies, which she can't, but she thinks she can, and then when she clicks the lever, the cage closes behind her, and then I got them all. And then I took them to well, I didn't take them. They came and got them. It's a special sanctuary around here for feral cats. So they keep them in an outdoor kind of safe enclosure. And they let them grow up. And then they fix them and make sure they're good. And then they're going to bring them back and put them back where they came from.
And they'll still be feral.
They'll still be feral, but they'll be fixed and they'll be vaccinated.
Isn't that still
Cool.
bad? Don't you not want feral cats? Aren't they dangerous?
The feral cats are not dangerous. If they do have some amount of human contact, they become less aggressive and they trust humans. So feral is not necessarily like meaning like a vicious or diseased cat. It just means a cat without a home. It's like the new word for stray.
But won't they get autism?
They're just running wild, aren't
Whoa.
They're going to get autism anyways
No,
because
hang on.
life causes autism.
Hang on, Q. I got a problem with what you just said.
Okay.
So you said that feral isn't like is a stray. No.
No, I said feral isn't. Feral's not synonymous with vicious. It's more synonymous with stray. That's what I said.
Okay, but they're not. Okay. Now I'm not
They're just
anymore.
wild cats. They don't have owners. They don't have homes to go to. You know.
When I hear feral cat, when you get within 10 feet of that cat goes straight like lying on your ass. Like,
no, that's not a feral
They
cat.
usually run away.
Usually they'll run away. Usually they'd run away, a feral cat would. A feral cat is just a cat that has not been socialized by human beings.
Yep.
Have you guys...
All squirrels are feral unless you hand feed them. But that doesn't mean they're vicious.
Okay, I see. I get it now.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you guys know about that one cat that like all like the celebrities try to own now? But it's like a wild fucking cat they just recently domesticated.
Are you talking like a breed of
Is it that
breed of
from
cat?
the Himalayas?
Yeah, say it
The
again.
Himalayan bobcats?
No.
I don't even think it's actually domesticated. It's this. I think it's this cat from the Himalayas.
Yeah, it's a definitely a.
Is it a Bengal?
I don't know.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here?
God damn it!
We're talking about cats.
Get on to
John,
your
you used to
criticism
have
of
a
the
cat.
video. Sean.
Say it again.
I thought you were going to talk about the video. Sorry.
I wanna
is that your
talk
brother
about-
Jay? Right.
Okay, well, hang on.
I want to talk about how butthurt Mog is that I trolled him the last time I was on your channel that he actually had to make 2 videos about it.
Yeah, that was weird. Oh, a serval.
Serval,
it's
yeah.
not right.
Okay.
It's not right
Oh,
how
yeah,
he's
yeah.
been
That was going to
treated.
be my
though,
next
is it?
guest, actually, Sean.
Everyone has
What?
to have a voice. It's not right how a mind of God has been treated, right? What do you reckon, Sean?
Wait, you think it's bad how he's being treated? Did you see what he wrote in my comments?
Mind not.
You
Look at all the
Have you ever
shitheads.
sat there and listened to one of his streams where he just goes on and on condemning people for not believing what he believes?
Mind that. Let everybody have their say, right? Look at all the streams queued that all of these characters in chat are spewing their vitriol and nothing is said. So look, we have to be tolerant on both sides if we're going to be tolerant
Well,
around
I,
this.
I agree. Like, there's definitely a lot of political channels out there spewing a lot of bullshit nobody needs to hear. But they should be criticized just like Mog is.
Sure, but I mean, do you think that the man is at his heart bad? I don't think so.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
do. I think man is
Okay.
evil, and it has to work to not be
But-
evil.
Pete,
But
did
even
you see
still,
this?
you'll defend the
I
right
think that's
to free
why
speech.
we created a God to reinforce
Well-
not being evil specifically. Because
You-
we
you
realize
defe-
that our natural state is to be completely self-destructive and evil, I think.
Yeah, but
Did
there's
you
many different philosophies, and you defend the man's right to
Pete,
say what on his
Pete,
mind.
Did you see this?
on,
Philosophies
Sean,
are
yeah.
bullshit.
Have you seen that yet?
The mind of God replied, "You have more subs than I do. I need the exposure on your platform to warn." You're right, I've heard him talk about that loads of times, Sean. This is about the revelation mark of the beast that everyone must take it unless you can buy and sell.
Yeah, but
He's a Bible literalist.
But if you're gonna use my channel for that shit, you're gonna go. You don't. I'm
I
not.
guess so.
You don't use me for shit. I'm not.
Well-
I'm not here to be used.
No, but you could
Um,
definitely put aside. Hang on, you could definitely put aside, let's say, a certain time to talk about these things. We have
tried.
in flat Earth, in the whole arena, religion brought into everything, and there are certainly some literalists, and everyone's voice, is worth hearing, right?
Well, of course, and I have no problem with that. I've even told him, we can come on and have that strength. We've tried, and the second we start and someone gets in here, he starts even going off the beat
No, ya
path.
los doctores me dijeron que no quitan eso. Dice.
Hey, stop whispering in Spanish over there, Earth
Yeah,
is.
the hot mic.
Well, also, let's not forget that Mind of God has the same opportunity as everybody else to earn a bigger channel on the merits of his arguments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll never
That's
get
the
that.
point I was trying to make about his streams being all about how he's better than everybody and condemning a whole bunch of people who don't think the same way as he does.
Can I
Nobody
say
wants to
something real
watch
quick?
that shit. Look at that's why
Well,
our
Q-
streams don't do that good because all he does is sit there and fawn over himself.
It's not about doing good or anything, but look at the Bible literist contingent within Flat Earth Inquiry. There's a massive
I
amount
don't look
of
at those people
influence
because
there.
they're insignificant.
Well, I mean, that means that you're going to rule out all Christians. I mean, you can't do that, right?
I don't really like Christians.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to take every individual as you don't have all the answers, so we're all seeking answers here. I think mind of God. Excuse my
Mind of
slip
shit,
up there.
mind of nothing, mind of
I think
bullshit,
he's
mind of
I think he's
empty.
hard. I think he's hard is probably good, but a few.
I don't.
suspicious
I
things.
don't.
He
I
lives
don't. I
in
don't.
Houston.
I think his motivations are completely self-serving and disgusting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
maybe
Yes.
he lives in Houston. He vouches for Patricia Steer and Nathan Oakley.
He's from Canada.
I don't know though. I don't
No, I
know.
do.
I
He's
can't. I
from
don't judge the
Canada.
man.
He's from
Canadian.
Canada.
You know, it doesn't matter our reasons why we spread the word of the flat Earth knowledge. It has nothing to do with a flat earther. A flat earther is just a brave, critical thinker that is willing to sacrifice himself to go one-on-one with the devil. Simple. That's who we are.
Your accent's on point today, Earth is seriously flat. Well done.
Yeah, I did hear
Thank
you went out
you.
of character. I was kind of pissed
That's
off that
okay.
I've heard
Are
it.
you ready? Are you ready to face the devil one-on-one? Let me ask you. Global
There's no such
number
thing
one.
as the devil, so I'm not worried about him.
We've been asked this before, and we actually did. We nominated Mind of God to fuck the devil and grab him by the horns.
I am glad Earth is seriously flat is here because I did an experiment last night and I want to show it to him.
Oh,
I got to turn on my camera real quick.
But answer my question. Are you ready to grab the devil by the horns?
Can y'all see me?
No.
You might have to click on my icon.
I see you,
you
sir.
might need to pan down a tad.
It's the
Oh, there you
devil
go.
with
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
horns.
How about now?
You were the devil with the horns.
Yeah.
All right.
Above your head.
Just
Here's-
walk forward a little bit, and the horns would align right on your forehead.
Hold on.
Better not point on me,
I
so
did an
just cat.
experiment yesterday, and I hate to report.
Do not show me your penis. Do not.
I will not.
Thank you.
But
I'm
I'm
not
going to show you the
again.
results of my experiment. The glove is seriously not flat.
Boom.
Hey!
I love it.
Don't say
I
Schrodinger's
love
pussy.
Well done,
You know
Cliff.
what? I love it, brother. You're gonna be an amazing flat earther.
I just proved the glove is not flat.
Can you show that again, please?
Schrodinger's cat developed his sense of humor
Yes.
when he was
He's
doing
not
fuck
a flat
all at sea
glove.
for all those years.
You see it right here,
The
live
glove.
people. The glove.
You know,
He was
but
It's not
probably-
flat.
He was
It's not
probably
flat.
referring
But
to
it's
a
symbiotic
deflated
to
glove.
humanity. It has 5 fingers, plumpy fingers. You know.
Yeah, where did that glove just come from? Schrodinger's cat.
The Earth is palm.
Look clean to me, mate. I don't think
I'm
that's been used.
I'm happy that it's not used, but I do question why the fuck do you have that?
I specifically bought it for this joke.
Variable.
Perfect.
It was only 99 cents for a 10 pack. All right. No, shit. They only gave me 8. An 8 pack at Walmart.
You went into
I've
buy
got a box of black
condoms, right?
latex gloves.
I can only do this joke 7 more times.
Times.
Hey, does
Latex
that,
gloves are very useful
No, you just
for
keep the
working on
one
the
glove.
motorbike.
Keep the one glove.
I have a
and then you can
question.
save money.
Hey, Schrodinger's cat, can you do me a favor? Can you let go of that glove when you're showing it to us? See what happens?
Oh, shit. Yeah, let's do experiment number 2.
He's got to blow it back up again.
Number 2.
Put it on vacuum.
I actually think Pete
He's
probably
the
wants us
farmer's
to
boy
do.
territory there.
Pete probably wants us to
What?
do experiment number 1.
No. We're not doing that one.
All right, let's see. Can y'all see it? It's a little bit dim
Yep.
here.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It's
we
my
can see
green
it.
screen.
Yep.
Let's see. 3, 2, 1.
Oh shit! Did density do that?
It was
I think
almost
the-
like there
No,
was a
that was
vortex
no,
in
that
one.
was dropity.
Drop it.
Yeah,
to
the
the
glove
But
the
you're
glove
gonna
is
slap
attracted
the
to my
glove with
floor.
the fan.
It was
like
part
you
of
did
the
last night.
viscosity of the sperms inside of the glove.
It's almost like there was a force acting on it.
All right, that was a little too vulgar.
Yeah. What you mean, like a downward acting force,
Yeah.
like something was pulling it down to the ground.
Force, pulling / pushing it.
Well,
downwards.
I heard it was
Yeah.
density though.
Well,
But
hang on,
that glove wasn't
Sean.
very dense.
Hang on, Sean.
No, it
when
wasn't.
Schrodinger's cat bought these packet of gloves, were they in that form, or did you have to do something to the glove to get it in that form that we just saw you dropping here? You have to blow the glove. Did you have to blow the glove, Cliff?
I'm actually in agreement with Pete here. We want to see you blow the glove up.
Add something to the glove, right?
Oh, do I need to make a live demonstration?
No, never mind. I changed my mind.
Ahorita se lo voy a mandar.
I actually used my air compressors. So.
Show us the globortion. You show us the globortion.
I think
I
it's
can
time.
do that.
Hey guys,
All right.
Love
The glove for the
hang on,
globortion.
guys, I think it's time.
Time.
Yeah, it's time.
That 1 minute, lovely.
There it is. We're gonna have a 1 minute game. If you guys don't know what the hell the 1 minute game is, you are in the wrong fucking place right the fuck now.
Hey, Sean, do you want to give us a 30-second lead up to it and then say 3, 2, 1, go? That'd be excellent. Make sure we record it.
I could do that. Okay, so let me get everything set up.
You're some big fat bollock, Sean. Oh, sorry, we
is-
didn't start yet.
Is
Okay,
there
sorry.
anybody here who has no clue what's about to happen? Anybody? Everyone knows. Okay, I've given out.
Everybody's
the
about to have a wonderful globortion.
Yeah, I gave the warning. I don't want to hear no one crying about this shit.
Oh, I thought that was just the wind.
Okay,
Sean, tell Earth is seriously flat, especially because he's too nice all the time. He has to let it go as well.
He's here. You were here for the 1 minute, right, Earth?
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah, he knows what's
Okay,
up.
let it go. I want to hear you now, Earth, saying some shit about me or someone else. Everyone else.
Damn, Pete. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Earth is seriously flat. Just mad because he got a glove abortion.
Pete,
And
you're
he's
just
just
we was
because I
talking.
didn't piss in the glove.
He's been so many years in the
you
ship,
have
he
this
doesn't
thing
know where
about
he
vegetables, and you quite clearly
took
like to shove them up your own butt.
Oh, here we have Farmer's Boy jumping in. He's just
Well, you
fresh
keep
after taking
you
about
keep
4
projecting.
turnips
You-
on his anus. Oh,
You're,
guys are
you're
the same.
obviously a carrot lover.
All you guys, all you can do is blow diarrhea your asses off.
Just like his favorite beverage.
There's no farts
Oh,
under
it's too funny.
pressure
On that,
Too
he's
funny.
gravity. Let's talk
with
about
an
gravity.
asshole.
too.
We're gonna give you a wonderful
Unicorn farts.
globortion.
This seriously
Do
flat,
not
I love you.
resist
I'm
the
so
flat
1-1. I want to write the
truth.
devil.
Oh dear.
That sucks.
But I
It
love
only
you
cost
all.
Let me
me
show you guys how
99
it's
cents
done.
to make a joke
First of all,
about
let's go like
guys,
this.
Earth
We're
is
gonna go
seriously
Schrodinger's
flat.
cat. I don't know why the fuck you have a green screen in there. All you do is sit in this weird little thing. I've seen you use it one time. It was black. It was weird. Fucking completely weird. Pete, you like trannies too
What's wrong
damn
with
much.
being
It's fucking
black?
so fucking weird. It's ridiculous. You're a crazy motherfucker. J. Alex. Yeah, you're J.
Yeah, it's
Alex.
black.
Farmer's boy. You're kind of awkward and weird. I don't know why you even call yourself a farmer's boy. You're like, I grew up on a farm, but I'm not a farmer. You are a fucking farmer. I don't give a fuck. Earth.
I'm a farmer's boy, you silly ass.
You have issues. You silly ass. Are you 12 years old? Okay,
No, I'm
we're done.
49.
No, believe it or not, those
We're
super
done.
chats
No.
are requests by children to put on the internet.
John, is
Those
it
are the children's requests that we encounter on the schools
Okay,
when we're
just so
bombarding
everyone knows.
children
I'm out.
with
No more shit talking.
flyers.
No more shit talking. We're done. And that was pathetic. You guys need to step up your fucking game.
I got one.
We're too nice.
Yeah.
I'm
Problem,
dealing
we're
with the
too
past there,
nice.
Sean. But Sean, you see, what it was better when everyone says it sort
At
of
once.
collectively. Then it all gets
Yeah.
confused. What you said
Exactly.
was what you
See,
said
the thing
was
is
unique,
at the
we
last
all heard
15
it.
the last 15 seconds, I went, this is stupid. Let me just. I got everyone that I wanted to in 15 seconds, and you guys were like, dumb. I like carrots.
It was only about 4 talking.
But Pete does like carrots.
Yeah, that's
Sean.
kind of awkward. I think he does.
He projects.
But you need a big pileup of about 10 people. It doesn't work with 2 people or 4 people.
Yeah,
You need
it's
everyone going
everyone.
in.
He just said he wanted a pileup of 10 people.
I'm gonna
Hey,
say
Sean.
that.
Hey, Cliff, do the beaver laugh. Go on, please.
Sean.
What?
Um,
You just gotta speak.
He just said, but
Hey, I have a question for you, Glovies.
Cliff is doing the beaver laugh with the rubber glove in his hand.
You know, I find a new term. I call them glove zombies. You guys continue. I saw the whole tape about the gravity. The guy didn't say anything logical nor concrete. It was all speculation, astronomical assumptions, It was just pure gloveria coming out from a Masonic. Did you notice the little
Gloveria.
symbol that he was hanging on his neck, the necklace? That was a Masonic, well known for all the Masonic rituals that they use during the
That was his
satanic
fucking
violent
microphone. That was his microphone, you numbnuts.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go at some point.
But was it a
Behind the
Masonic
microphone.
It was a
You will
Masonic
see
microphone.
this little emblem. It's a Masonic that has a ruler.
Definitely, that was an Illuminati microphone.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It had a 33
I'm just here to
decibel gain.
guys. This is a rescue mission. This is for real. I feel really sad that you guys are forcing vaccinating your children without even looking into alternatives.
Oh yeah, it's so terrible.
The fake news can claim pandemic, and everybody's gonna line up like little sheeps, kill millions at once in one event.
Like what?
For any stupid reason, the CDC is gonna go, oh, you gotta have a vaccination for the zombie apocalypse. Stand in line, and all the glove zombies.
Let me just make a guess.
are gonna do it.
You watch Walking Dead.
Maybe
Right.
we're prepared for
And now
something,
when they
Sean.
start enlisting people for Space Force, they're gonna tell you, kiss your mom good night. You're gonna be sleeping for the next 250 light years. Where you're going to the new world. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna remember your little last kiss, like if it was just last night. And in the reality, you're going deep frying. They're gonna make chicken nuggets out of all of the distance.
You wake up thinking of turnips, right?
Hey, Earth is seriously flat. Do you think a light year is time or is it distance?
Yeah, light year is distance.
Right. So you
It's how
don't sleep
long
for
it-
250 light years.
Oh, I slept for 50
It's all
miles.
time
Oh,
included, right? It's contained. Time and distance.
You ever seen The Sixth Sense? Oh, not wait.
Yeah.
Wrong
yeah,
movie.
I see dumb people.
No,
They don't
wrong
know
people.
they're dumb, but they are.
Hang on, wrong movie. What movie am I?
Hey, Sean, I went to Sixth Sense in the movies and I missed the first 5 minutes of it and I had no clue what was going on until years later when I saw it again and realized I fucking missed the whole thing. Honestly,
I do not believe that Pete Shea didn't have a clue about something. Pete Shea has a clue about everything.
But if
the movie
it was
about
always the wrong
Aristarchus.
clue.
Yeah, but Cliff, if you missed the first 5 or 10 minutes of Sixth Sense, you don't know what's going on and test it out.
It just looks like
But
a movie.
why didn't you just make
Hey guys,
It really just looks like a man looking at him. What, man?
I'm gonna have to go get breakfast now
Okay.
because it's like 8 a.m. and I haven't eaten yet, so I'll be back.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon. Why are you eating breakfast?
No, it's
I'm
not.
in
It's
New
9:30 at night.
No, it's
Oh, that's
not.
right. You're in.
1 o'clock
Time
here.
zones.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 3.
Oh shit, time zones.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It's
I'll be back.
9:23 in the evening in
What
the
the
UK.
fuck is a time zone?
I don't understand these time zones.
They don't work on
my
a flat
glove.
Oh, just the angle you're looking at the sun at. That's all it is, isn't it? Just the angle you're looking at the sun.
Oh.
It's simple as that. We're on
sun?
a flat plane, stationary plane.
What sun?
The sun is moving. Simple.
If you live
It's
on
not a
the
physical
middle
object.
finger of the glove, or do you just offend everybody?
It's not a physical object in the UK today, I tell you.
Or
It's been
here.
fucking shit.
Well, damn, it rains shit where you live.
What if you live on the thumb of the glove? Are you always
It
trying to
fucking
bum a
pissed it
ride?
down this morning. Bloody hell! We've had sort of yellow warnings for thunderstorms and such like. It's
Where's your boyfriend Dean? Where's he been?
my boyfriend
Working on his computer
Well,
program.
because you guys are always like, we live so close, we should be meeting up.
We've never actually met. That's the ironic thing. I don't know where he is.
You guys are so shy. You gotta open up and just hi. Just go
Well, I
out,
don't want to
go
scare him
outside.
off, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dean is out buying turnips for dinner. Dinner inverted
What
commas.
is up with you and turnips?
I
It's so
think
awkward. I get
Dean
it.
in his free time
It's
just
weird.
roams the streets asking for people to help him with his computer program.
Flat Earth model. Can you help me with my flat Earth model? I can't make it work. Well, no shit.
Let me find my flat Earth model. It's got to be in 4K. Definitely 4K.
That's why it doesn't go out, because outside it isn't in 4K. Go outside. No, it's not in 4K.
Tell me what it is.
I have a question, everyone, regarding
Go for it.
researching. Yeah, the flat earthers always say research the flat earth. In the flat Earth, there's nothing except that it's flat. The sun and moon are local, but no one knows where they are. Well, the better question or suggestion: research the globe before you try to debunk it. Before you
That's
go
right.
into
Test
something
the
like
globe.
yeah.
Test it first.
That's
Test
exactly
it.
Well,
what
mate,
just
just
research it.
understand our model.
No, because this is what happens. This is exactly what happened to me. You go into it thinking you know enough about the globe that you don't need to look into anything. But the reality of it is what happens is you don't
I
know
leave
anything.
my food unattended for 20 seconds and the dog eats it.
Then how are you on it right now?
He's speaking into the dog's belly.
And he's
Or
upside
his
down as
ass.
well. So the dog
One
is
of the
after
two.
scoffing his dinner upside down from our position.
Just remember when you thought the Santa Claus was real
Jesus Christ.
and you find out it was not real and you try to compute, cognitive dissonance
Yeah,
kicks
I was
in.
about 6,
I
I
deduced
think.
that by myself. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Yeah, that's not going to cheer him up, Earth. Seriously, glad he's just lost his dinner to the dog.
It was my breakfast.
Yeah, but the dog's happy.
That's what the problem is.
He's got peanut butter all around his mouth now.
Oh, okay. I don't know where this is going to go.
And with that, it wasn't me look on his face.
Oh, they never
If it's
did.
any consolation, Pete has a warm
No,
beverage for you.
He hasn't got the "it wasn't me" face. It's more, I want more face.
It's not tea.
What, you mean if it's in the glass, it's got a bit of a head on it?
Oh. Fictitious as hell, though.
Who's your man anyway, Sean? Who's this guy, the Gorgo?
Okay, so he's one of the he's one of
Never
the kids
heard of
from he's one of the kids from the Discord server. He comes in every once in a while, and I think he has severe ADD, but I'm not 100% sure. But so he does just randomly say weird shit, and so it does. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
What, you mean like Pete does?
Oh shit!
I mean weirder stuff. Much weirder stuff.
No, dude.
Really?
Oh my god! What if
really?
What if he's becoming Pete?
What, you mean he's the apprentice Pete?
But we were supposed to have a chat or something before you mentioned. I don't recall meeting you.
Pete's Padawan.
Pete,
I don't recall meeting them though, Sean.
Pete, if you like to quiz me, and the lecture that we listened to, you're more than welcome to, because you did not say you wanted to, and I don't mind. Because
well. That was about I haven't heard you talking about the presentation.
Well, you don't want to ask me to quiz you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, Sean, do you want to just speak in general terms?
Here you go. Question. Very simple.
I can't answer both you and Pete at the same time.
Okay, let me ask then. Do you want to speak in general terms in your own time about the video you presented at the start of your show, and just give your general sort of summation of the message going across there? I think your mom was on fucking speed. Myself up to the gills. He was mad as a hatter. But in your own time.
They do coke back then, and I think that lecture was a excellent way of explaining to people who may not understand how physics and all this stuff works, how to explain to them what gravity is in the layman's terms.
And what did you get out of it? What is it?
It's a force, and as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely a force.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's quite what he was saying, though.
No, that's exactly what he was saying.
No, let me ask you then,
it's still
brother.
regarded as pseudo.
What's the formula?
It's very real.
Did he mention the formula?
Yeah, he mentioned the formula. Actually,
can I say something real quick?
Of course, go ahead.
What's the formula? Was the formula an acceleration? It's an acceleration, right?
9.8
Gravity is considered a fictitious force in the same way that centrifugal force is considered a fictitious force. It's to do with an inertial reference frame.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm talking about your formula. Is it an acceleration? Yes or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
and
fantastic.
It's not.
Then all of you Globies accept that, acknowledge that, on same page?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not.
There's only two Globies in here.
Sake. Why are you still speaking when I started speaking?
Okay, let me explain you what's happening with your paradigm. The problem that you guys have is that if you claim that it's accelerating, And if you're looking at, let's say you're dangling on 0g, looking free from gravity, right?
Can I
When
just
you're
say
in
something real
0g,
quick
you're
before we
not free
get
from
into
gravity.
something?
Okay, you're
Like,
still in gravity,
No,
right? We all
The-
agree,
well,
right?
The
Can I just say
ISS, the
something?
people. Hang on, Gorg. Hang on. The people in the ISS, they are. They're not in
They're in
0
free fall.
G. They're not in 0.
Yeah,
there's
they're
no-
in free fall.
You got to understand something. There's too much shit in our solar system to ever be 0g. I'm sorry to say.
Listen,
Something's always going to be
let the
pulling on you.
Gorgo, let the Gorgo go, Sean, because I haven't heard his perspective on things. So just for a couple of minutes,
Yeah, but
Earth is seriously flat, and just let's hear.
Pete, just
Yeah,
like
let me
you.
finish my question, brother.
Yeah, hang on. Pete, just like you, I have to watch what he says. Not because he's going to say anything bad, but he'll go on a tangent.
Yeah,
And
but you can't bring in concepts like the ISS, which is disputed.
Why?
So let's hear what
I
Gorgo
actually-
has on the
I-
basic
you know what?
level.
disputed at all.
Wait. Pete, I can't because he started talking about 0g, and there's no such thing as 0g. 0g is just a term.
Okay, good. So you are not free from gravity, but you have
Zero
you
G
have
is like
also
an
the
ad
perspective.
campaign for like razors or something.
No, can I clear something up real fast, please?
Go ahead.
Can I talk now?
People
like that.
confuse 0g and zero gravity. Zero gravity is a point in which there is no influence of gravity. 0g just means that the influence of gravity is balanced by your speed. So you can be.
What about your
The
density?
acceleration
What
of
about
the
your
speed, right?
density
So
and
you
buoyancy?
Can I finish? For fuck's sake! I only got like a couple more sentences.
Oh, you're good, Cliff. Off you go.
If you're in 0g, that just means that the force pulling you down is balanced with your acceleration, or your tangential force if you're in orbit. So you are at 0g, but you're cutting me off again. You're not in zero gravity. The only time you would be in zero gravity is at a Lagrangian point, and that's when
Right.
all of the gravitational forces balance out. And even still, you can't call that zero gravity. It's just that all of the gravitational forces are in balance. So there is 0g, but there's not zero gravity.
You left out one thing, which was if you were
Aristarchus, I get it.
neutrally. And okay, thank you. I know it's there's 10 people here,
So is
so
this
you got to
like,
get in quickly. That's what I'm
it's
saying.
like
All I'm saying is
Can
you
I
left
say my
out.
thing now?
You left out.
G-force versus gravity, Schrodinger's?
No,
Yeah,
all you
well,
left out. Is,
okay.
Go
I'm
ahead,
trying to
Pete.
answer your
Please,
question.
please complete, Pete. Let Pete
No,
complete.
stop. No.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Because
No, I like what he's going to say.
No, because all he's going to say is let fucking Gorg fucking say something, and Gorg's going to say, "Can I say
No,
something?"
it wasn't. I was just
No,
going to say
this
to
is-
Schrodinger's cat. Oh, he's left out. If you're in a neutrally buoyant environment, right, then gravity will tend to cancel out as well.
Oh, I thought you were going to say if you're
You can't have
in the
buoyancy
middle of
without
two
gravity,
objects that are
Pete.
the same mass.
Well, if you were in a
There
pool,
is no
right,
buoyancy without gravity, Pete.
you were in an environment which is more
You
water-like.
can't
You
have
could find a
buoyancy
neutrally
without
buoyant
gravity.
point, and gravity
You
would
need
cancel
gravity to
out.
be buoyant.
Oh no,
There
but
has
we
to
can
be
go to the
gravity.
depths of outer space and talk Lagrangian
We're not
points, but we
buoyant
can't
when we're in
imagine
outer
that.
space, are we? We're not buoyant when
And don't
we're in
be
outer space,
screaming
are
at
we?
me, please. Q, don't be screaming at me.
Okay,
can
well,
I finish my point then?
here's the thing. You're not buoyant when you're in outer space, are you, Pete?
There's no outer space. Q.
When you go into outer space on the ISS, you're not suddenly buoyant because there's no
Okay, so you
gravity.
can't.
But let me fix.
You
Let
can
me
So
relate to
when
the
you're
ISS,
here on
but you can't
Earth
relate.
and
Hang
there's
on.
gravity, you can also have buoyant forces.
Right.
in exchange.
Let me
You can
just
relate to
expose
the
my
ISS.
question
You
right
can
now,
relate to
real
the
quick,
ISS, but
because
you
if
can't
we
relate
all
to being in
agree
a
that we
bathtub,
could be
right?
0g or
Just
no
like not
or
wanna
zero
work on
gravity.
Earth.
Either way.
Everybody
at
stop.
all.
Everybody stop. Stop. You guys are
I
kind of
didn't
just
know if that
talking.
was the opposite of
Yeah.
G-force.
You guys are
You
like
brought us
talking
to the
over.
ISS and you can't relate to being in a bathtub.
Shut up. You guys are all talking over each other, and it sounds completely, and no one can hear anything. One at a time, please. Pete, you're not running the show. Stop it.
You want to hear a joke, Sean?
No.
Okay.
Can I say my thing now?
Those are the first words I've spoken.
Probably the last.
Yeah.
Please say what you have to say so you can stop asking that.
Purposely
Please.
tucked over Pete because I wanted
So
to.
what I was going to say is the
I know, because you was. I
9.81
get you
meters.
too. Good.
The 9.81 meters per second means that you accelerate by 9.81 meters per second every second, but that does not apply everywhere. It only applies on the surface of the Earth.
Wait. That's what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
We know that, man.
Is that what we've been waiting for?
We know that.
Thank you.
Okay, so then if you agree to that, so that means if it's an acceleration, when does it stop accelerating?
When you hit the ground.
No. If you're floating, you claim that you are floating, following the blue marble, free from gravity, and you're still contact with gravity on the same formula. If you're accelerating in 0g, free fall. The question is, are you still free of gravity, or what time do you reach light speed at that rate if you're accelerating according to your formula? If you don't reach light speed, then when does acceleration stop? When is the terminal velocity?
Do you know what the formula for gravity is?
Nothing with
No,
mass.
I'm asking you. Answer my question.
Yeah, but
Nothing with mass can reach light speed.
I can attempt to answer this question.
It can accelerate forever at any speed, and it'll never reach light speed.
Right, because if it does, its mass has to increase to infinity.
Thank you.
I'd like to answer the question of Earth seriously flat.
How can Einstein's equations be validated then?
Damn it.
Yes, the equation is very simple.
Because Einstein's equations are about light, Pete, not matter. Mass, excuse me.
Light speed, Q.
Not Pete. Go ahead.
Okay.
Can I answer the question that?
No, because Crow's going to go ahead and talk now.
Yes, for the issue of falling and when would you hit the light speed? Light speed is 300 million meters per second. Divide that by 9.8. The result would be how many seconds you need to fall to reach the light speed, and that would be around 6 months, I guess. But to fall to Earth, to take you 6 months, this means that you would be so far that at the beginning, you could be at the edge of the solar system, so there would be basically no acceleration. Now, the first part of the question, why he asked that we in the ISS we should fall and accelerate to the speed of light. When you are on the ISS, there's two forces or two acceleration. The acceleration to the Earth, which is 9.8, defined by that's a little bit complicated equation showed by Dr. Feynman, the mass by constant divided by the r square. That's the force that pulls you to the Earth, but there's another force like ejecting you the opposite way, which is defined by the mass multiplied the velocity squared and divided by the r. So you're not accelerating anywhere when you are in the ISS.
Wow, you're gonna be an amazing flat earther, brother.
Thank you.
How many times are you going to say that?
Can I attempt to answer the question as well?
Just answered it. Right. No,
that was beautiful.
Just let that question go. I don't want to hear an answer twice.
Hang on.
See, the thing is he only has so many catchphrases, and they have to constantly be recycled.
So let a flat earther answer the question, or answer that Khaled is given there, or let somebody try to refute it anyway.
Can you? He's going to say global.
If Gorga wants to go ahead and add to that, I'll wait till
he's not a flat earther, Pete.
Oh, that's okay then. Well,
no,
we can.
Okay, let's hear you refute it.
No, I know. But let Gorgo just say what he had to say.
No.
What I think
is
that
stop.
Okay.
Is it the same thing? Right. Hang on. Is it the same thing the gentleman here just said, Gorg?
Right.
No? Okay, go ahead. If it's the same thing, I'm going to be upset.
No, go on.
So what happens is it's falling, but it's in the same way that there is a force on something that you spin. The thing is, it's going so fast sideways that basically it's falling towards Earth, but then it's going around the Earth. So it's always falling towards the Earth, but it's going so fast sideways that it's curving with gravity.
We're curving and accelerating.
That's what an orbit is.
Yeah, yes. You just said the same thing you did, just not as good.
And the gravitational force, hang on. And the gravitational force is the tether here, right?
Huh? Say again?
The gravitational force is the tether. This is what's keeping. So when you mentioned the distance or the value of r, Khaled, and you also mentioned the other force, the gravitational force, where r is also a factor. This is a common factor. So whatever distance you are from the center of gravitational forces of the Earth, that plays a part in both of those equations that you just brought up, right? You'd agree with that. Now, first of all, you'll also agree they're purely theoretical, because you can apply the you can apply the mv squared over r to a ball on a string, for instance. You have this tether here. In both equations, you have to invoke G. Would you agree with that?
They were theoretical. Then
well,
Cavendish came along and we learned, and we had measurements, and we could be able to do.
Can we please just let Pete finish?
Well, orbital mechanics is purely theoretical.
Hey, hang on. When was this somebody else's shit? I thought this was my shit. Why does everyone keep telling me how this shit's gonna go? No.
Hey, Sean, can we tell you what to do in your hangout?
I didn't tell you anybody what to do except
First
for
of
Pete.
all, Q, you're the only one here who could do that shit. Everyone else, fuck you. Now continue.
Orbital mechanics is purely theoretical. Show me an example of three spheres orbiting. Show me an example of three spheres orbiting around themselves without any tethers of any kind on Earth here. So it's purely theoretical. But just to get beyond the basics, we want to establish that G is the commonality here. G is assumed in both of the equations that Khalid gave.
He's trying to say assumed.
G is measured, not
G is a ratio.
Thank you. He's trying to say G as if we made it up to make the equation work, and that's not true.
G is a ratio.
No, G is the accelerating force of gravity, right? 9.8.
No, it's a ratio.
No, you're confusing big G and little g again. I thought I just cleared that up.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about little g here. I'm talking about the gravitational attraction between the Earth and the ISS.
Have your G's mixed up, Dodo.
Yeah. Okay.
The gravitational constant.
The gravitational
is a ratio
force
between mass and force.
The gravitational force between the Earth and the ISS is not little g. In that equation, it's big G. Force of gravity.
No. Hang on.
Hang on,
Cliff,
by
you're
r
wrong.
squared.
I'll show you how you're wrong. I'll show you how you're wrong, because if little g wasn't in effect with the ISS, it would zoom off into space at every tangential opportunity. That's the whole argument, right?
The constant that's in that equation is big G, not little g.
No,
Look it up if you don't believe me.
Big G, little g carbon.
No, we're not talking about this is a different equation. He mentioned two equations here, Cliff. So we're talking about what keeps the ISS,
conflating G
what keeps the ISS in orbit.
And it's not the same G.
Hang on, Cliff. What keeps the ISS in orbit is the fact that it's going at such a speed. It's going at such a speed. It's not propelled, right? It's going at such a speed that the centrifugal velocity is cancelled out perfectly by the gravitational force, right? So it goes around in circles eternally, right?
Yes, but when it's
no, it periodically needs a boost to stay in orbit.
So that tether, okay, forget about theoretics, but that tether that's keeping it attached, if you want to imagine it, a big piece of string to the Earth. This is gravity, little g, not big G.
Oh God, you're so wrong that you're not even.
Are you
wrong.
talking about the output or the number in the equation?
No, Pete's talking about the sink as if the drain's not attached to it.
Unicorn fart.
What?
Unicorn farts. See, that's what's wrong with this glove mentality.
I have a bath bomb called
you guys. They give you so many glove farts out there that you guys really understand. Because think of the plasma universe. Electrostatic plasma energies that are on our dome firmament, and there's plenty of evidence that we have buildings that work with electrostatic energy. Think your so-called gravity is effects of the plasmatic effects that are happening above our heads.
Go on, sling some other words in there as well.
With the moon,
right?
He's just saying
buzzwords he's heard.
So when you are hypnotized by the globosa zombie mentality,
you got to hear this. I have to make an announcement, and I don't know how to say this. Unicorn farts are real.
Yep.
You can't prove they're not.
No, I can prove they are.
They come from the invisible pink unicorn.
No. They're real. Unicorn
I have
farts are real.
I have a bath bomb called unicorn farts.
I have to recalculate shit.
5.5%. That's not bad.
I have to relook.
You guys gonna need to do more research on the electrostatic energy and nature of our dome firmament.
No, stop.
No, you're talking crap. That's the problem.
If we all thought flat Earth was impossible, and that unicorn farts were used as a term to say how impossible things were, but we just found out unicorn farts are real. Maybe flat Earth could be real.
No,
There is a rainbow. Look,
what do you do?
there
Crack it
is a-
open and
look,
not
I need you
crack.
to understand something. There is a fucking unicorn with a rainbow coming out its ass on a fucking alcoholic beverage. And people
That's
drink
real, then.
that. People drink that, you know.
That's gay.
People
Only a
Everybody
gay
likes
cat
it.
can think of something like that, you know?
Gay
Everybody likes
unicorn
it if it was
farts.
real unicorn farts, wouldn't it?
Shouldn't it be unicorn diarrhea?
But
No.
can
No.
I just hang on,
No.
Sean? Let me just say this to Earth is seriously flat, and say to you as well, Sean. We've seen these powerful laser pens. Even you've seen people cutting pieces of timber, etc. Now imagine one of those laser pens and shining it down onto a surface of water. What we think would happen? This is what plasma is. Earth is seriously flat. We have a central source that is emanating these energies, and what we call plasma is this reaction between these energies and the watery barrier. Is water's beyond, and we can understand everything in a
Can
more
you just stop
terrestrial
spurting out
sense.
nonsense? I know what a laser cutter is, and I know it doesn't have anything.
No,
to do
he
with plasma.
can't. It's a force of
The
habit.
waters above the
Not for the
dome,
ball.
the
It's not for the
waters
ball,
in the
Earth. This
divided
is for Earth
state,
is
and
seriously
I
there
care
are
how
targets,
it
that's
has
what
and
will
nothing to
happen.
do with plasma.
this is a broken system.
And the tree with its head chopped off.
What's
Ooh.
wrong with
And
you,
the
though?
dodo
So how was
on
their
the moon
daylight
is the
And that was the
reflection
Earth
of the
is
moon
seriously
is the
flat.
reflection of the
But
sun,
Sean,
and these are all reflections in the glass mirror.
but Sean,
barrier.
you've seen those layers.
Hurry,
You've seen
stop.
a flat laser
Globe
if you shine it
zombies
onto
reactions.
heavy
guys,
water.
guys,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't act like glove zombies, please.
I'm not
Those
acting
are
like a
what
zombie.
we
You
do.
acting like a zombie.
the 1 minute was over a long time ago. Okay.
I'm
You're the
trying
one
to
always
give
have
coming
you a
in
another
here
one.
peaceful
repeating
global.
yourself.
I'm trying
You
to
never
give you a
learn.
peaceful globation here.
When's the
Learn
last time you
something.
learned something, Earth is? When's the last time you learned something new? Then
Oh,
repeat this,
every
just
day.
regurgitate,
I have a question.
regurgitate the same
Earth.
flat Earth bullshit day in
Earth,
and day out. When's the last time you learned something new?
I have a question, Earth. What
Yes,
is
sir.
what's the acceleration of gravity?
Depending on the altitude.
No.
No.
Well, no,
Oh,
that's
really?
kind
In a
of true.
vacuum.
It's
Barely.
partially
Just
true.
take it with you.
Because it's true.
What's the equation? What's the number?
Oh, I see. Exactly. You know what? You guys have been ridiculing flat earthers for a long time.
I just asked you what
This
the
is going to
number.
be your homework.
I don't really
There
need
is
homework. I just
different
asked you.
formulas for different altitude, brother.
No.
That's simple. I just gave that formula. I just said it like 5 minutes ago.
He did.
Yeah.
That's
You
what I'm
said it
asking
at
for.
sea level, brother.
That's what I'm
I'll
asking
say it
for.
again. I'll say it again.
At sea
The
level,
force
did
of-
you say at sea level? You
No.
didn't even know that there was a different type of formula
Yes, he
for high
did.
altitude.
I just said the fucking formula. I'll say it again. If everybody will listen.
Okay, okay. So that man,
I want him to.
I should question all these glove zombies.
Earth, either answer it or say you don't know.
Yeah, stop trying to get other people to answer for you.
Yeah, I want him to answer.
9.6 meters per second square high
Wrong.
altitude
It's wrong.
over a mile.
It's wrong.
That's not an equation.
It's not even right. It's like everything you just said was just wrong.
Oh, really? It doesn't accelerate? I'm giving you the
Yeah,
exact
really.
formula. 9.8 at sea level.
That's not an equation. That's a figure. That's not
Turn
an
it.
equation. Do you know what an
9.8.
equation is?
Okay, let me see. A mile high city. What's the
Just say,
equation at a mile high?
No, please save yourself.
I can help you out.
Just
I can
be
help him out.
truthful
Hang
for
on, we
once.
all don't
No,
know
you have
everything.
to
If you're
test it
30
yourself,
miles
right?
away and you're 6 feet tall, 9.8.
Every second you descend from a height,
9.6
you
meters per
accelerate at
square.
10 meters every second, right? So it turns
You
out to be
guys know something
9.81
right,
meters
too.
per second
y'all
every
just
second.
Okay,
saying
it's all
numbers.
various. It's all various. So what's the fucking problem? It's mythical. It's a myth.
Okay, what
So
if I'm
the-
30 miles away? Then how
so-
fast is it?
What
You know,
Q-
you're presuming that gravity points to the center of the earth, right?
Here-
All
here's
of
the
you
thing,
love
here's the thing,
zombies, right?
Here's the thing.
That's
You
a
said-
presumption
No,
because you haven't even
said-
found the curvature.
Oh,
Okay,
for fuck's
here's the
sake.
question.
So you're
Flip, what
making
is the formula
assumptions
for
that the
Earth.
I'm
Flip, what is the
perfectly
formula for
happy to
gravity?
answer this
Hang
question.
on, no, everyone stop. Here's the problem, Earth. You cannot tell us we're wrong, and you have a new reason for gravity to be thrown out now, and here's
and
why.
I did.
No, you don't understand gravity. You would have to understand gravity first. Then you can have the
Would help.
opportunity to try to figure out what something
There is,
else
look,
is.
I understand gravity. I know the root of the word gravity had nothing to do with the force. It was displaying
No,
a
you
state.
do not
Has
understand
nothing to
gravity.
do
I
with
want to talk
Gravity of the
about the way
situation.
letters
You know that.
go
You know that.
together, and
Newton
then I
was a
have ideas
Masonic
about that.
asshole that just glove diarrhea the
Hang on,
shit out
Earth.
of your
Hang
minds.
on, Earth. Hang on a second. Sean, what is the formula for gravity before Cliff tells us? And
No. I want Earth to tell me.
No, okay,
I
I don't
know.
know because
There
I
was
don't
a
believe
reason.
in mythicals.
He passes
No,
it over
don't
to
try to
you,
get
Sean.
other people to answer for him.
Because then you're
I don't
next.
know. Okay, I don't know. I'm
Because-
sorry. I'm ignorant. I'm an ignorant flat earther.
Hey.
Tell
Sean, what
me.
is the formula for
Now,
gravity?
Pete, what is it? I'm gonna ask if there's how many flat earthers are on my panel right now? Yeah, you too, Jay. You're
Right.
gonna be asked too, motherfucker. Any flat
It's
earther-
not real. There's no need to remember that shit. You're never gonna use it in your life.
You've established that because you don't know,
I don't know.
You cannot then make up a new one.
I propose my new theory that is electrostatic energy
can't
because of
have.
plasmatic
That's not your
energy's
theory.
nature of our
That's not your
dome.
theory, though. That's not your
And that's
electric
close.
universe.
It's my point of view.
You
You
just said
don't even
electric-
understand your own gravity.
You just described electric universe.
He
That's not
didn't.
your theory.
He didn't.
You didn't?
He's
I
just
did
giving
not
out
say
his
anything
thought.
about electric. I said plasma
Which is
electric universe, and it
Laser
has
beam
to do
Plasma is
with.
just
against
an
water.
ionized gas.
Laser beam against the water.
I'm sorry. I'm
surface.
sorry. No, I'm
That's
thinking
plasma.
about the plasma that we have is an electrostatic energy. It has nothing to
that's-
do with the
that's-
current electricity that you think we lived on.
No,
the one that you
plasma is
pay money
ionized
for.
gas.
Yeah,
hell?
that's what plasma.
It's the
electric,
fourth state of
electric
matter.
I'm
universe.
even arguing with that nonsense he said.
Yeah, no, he just word salad electric universe. That's all he did.
Okay. In other words, for example, have you ever seen the birth of a star in a laboratory?
What the hell?
What do you think,
How did we
dude?
go from
fuck?
gravity
Yes, I
to
have.
star?
This is what they do. They
did we
put
Have you ever
it
seen
in a
cancer
cylinder.
growing inside an old
The
man's
globe
I'm gonna
belly?
explain you something, sister. You're gonna learn something amazing.
No,
Abortion.
You're talking
Let-
about
I'll tell you
the-
what,
the
I've never
star in
met a
jar.
nice South African.
Hang on, farmer.
They a star in a jar. That's
Yeah,
right.
Okay, first of all, that is not a fucking star, dude.
That's a star.
No,
That's a plasma right there.
Okay, now
because
you
of the
don't even know what
frequency.
stars are,
it's not.
dude.
It's not.
Oh, that's what it is, brother.
I saw
Exactly that.
I saw
We
it.
are under a dome, and there's waters above, and you're afraid that there's a mother creator out there seeing you, all of your little devils, defending the demonic spinning ball deception. Welcome to your wonderful globortion.
Someone's
Did
echoing.
we leave gravity?
Abortion.
Okay,
You
look,
take the devil's
Stop.
challenge.
Did we walk away from gravity? And now
Yeah.
I
we're
think
talking
we
about
he
stars?
went into a rain of catchphrases. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Catchphrases, yeah.
Alright,
So
well,
you presume the gravity points to the center of the earth, right?
What?
You're
No.
assuming
No,
that
we
the
don't assume
so-called
that.
mythical
What?
gravity
How
points to the
dare you?
center of the earth,
Experienced
right?
Nope.
We
we're not
experienced
Everything
that.
that drops is dropping, pointing towards the center
Hey,
of your
Seems that
spinning
way.
ball,
We
right?
are not
Pretty much.
assuming.
Well, that okay. So then, how can you test? It's pointing right in the center of the spinning ball. How can you test that? I
It's
want
not
to
the
ask.
center of the
pick-
spinning ball. It's the center of mass.
Hey,
Thank you.
and don't disrespect.
That's not a
Bar-
test.
Don't
Gravity.
disrespect. Hey, Earth. Do not disrespect the big lighter that Barney drops every time I ask.
Yeah.
him to. That's
I'm
how
sorry.
We,
Go
that's
ahead.
how we know.
Where is
That's how we
Barney,
know.
Sean?
He's out there.
Where
I
is
saw him.
Barney?
He was in the chat a little while ago. I think the panel was full.
He's in the
He
chat.
doesn't want to. He doesn't
He
want to
was.
deal with these
Sean,
globe
give us the equation for gravity, and if you can, pass it over to Cliff.
No,
what's
I
the
asked
equation?
you to do it, Pete, and now you're asking
I know.
everyone else.
I know.
Just ask
I
him
know
what the
it, man.
fucking equation is, because I don't even think these two know what a fucking equation is.
Well,
That's
no,
why I'm
because
a-
they're
I'm
just
asking
you.
telling us numbers.
If there's a flat earther
I
on this
know it.
panel that can tell us, can you do it?
An
then?
equation is a specific function. Each side must do something.
Right.
That's a
So what is
clue.
What is the equation for gravity?
Well,
then,
the
Keith?
clue is in the name. What do you equation? What is an equation?
We're making an
Any-
equivalent.
Isn't
Yeah,
it something that
Pete.
equals
Oh, an
something
equivalent?
else?
Wow.
Why do you keep asking
Right,
other
so-
people, Pete?
No, because I'm
The
the
fuck
only
is an
flat earther
equation,
here.
Pete?
No, you're not.
Pete,
Well,
haven't you been
You can
doing this
ask
for like
Cliff
5
then,
years?
because I have thought about
Longer.
this before, man. I've thought about this and how circular
Have you
it
thought
all
about
is.
what is an equation?
But what is the equation for
No, what
gravity on
is
Earth?
an equation?
Yes, I have. We have the equal sign in the middle. We have an equivalence
Why?
being made.
Why
between
do we have the
different-
equal sign in the middle? So then an equation can't be 9.8, can it?
This is where gravity and mass are intimately or intricately
All right.
connected.
We're not letting
right?
you do
We're
speeches.
trying to
Pete. We're
equate
asking
mass.
questions.
Hang on, Q. We're trying to equate
I don't
mass.
want to hang on.
with
This
something
is
else,
not
and this
something
is
I
where
want
the
to hang on
equal
to.
sign- This is where the
I just
equal
want you to
sign
tell me.
comes with the equation. So what can mass be expressed in terms of? We have a force, right?
Can you answer the
Oh
question,
my
please?
God.
Right. So in terms of Newton's gravitational forces, we have the
wait.
equation
Do
F.
you know the
F
answer
is
in
equal-
general relativity? I would love to hear that.
Right. In terrestrial
Oh my
terms,
God.
gravity, in terrestrial terms, yes, general relativity, F is equal to m times a, mass times acceleration. This is the general term. So we work it out in terms of reverse or working out the equation and finding a value for a, the acceleration. It's also used in conjunction with the universal equation for gravitation, which is F, the force, is equal to G times m1, m2 over r squared. So it's relating the mass with distance to, as you say, Q, something equivalent that we can measure.
Hey, Pete,
Okay, I have
what
a
it is.
question.
I have a
What's the
question too.
difference between
Something
what's
equivalent.
what's the difference between the G and the universal formula and the formula for F equals mg? What's the difference between those two
Right.
G's?
No, hang on.
Can you tell me?
Hang on, Pete. What you just described, is that
It's
as a
terrestrial.
force? Is that as a force?
What?
What you just described, is that the description? Is it a force that you have to use in there?
Well, no, what I've just described is the math or the reasoning
What is
behind.
a yes or no, Pete?
yeah,
That's a
but-
yes or
No,
no.
there's nothing to do with it really. This is the math
Oh,
behind.
God damn it.
Yeah, it was.
I know what he's doing. Hey, short of his cat.
Yeah,
What he's doing is he's prolonging my answer
No.
so he can
Right.
avoid answering yours.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
well,
wants
let me
to
answer
equate
in
those
that
two
context,
G's, and they're
big
not
F
the
is
same
a
G.
force.
One is
Big
big
F
G,
is a
one's
force.
little G.
So-
Forget
Right,
my
exactly.
question.
So,
Yeah, forget my question.
Sean,
Answer
hey,
short of his
answer
cat.
it. Hang on, Sean. I answer your question. So yes, F is a force there.
Thank you. Go ahead,
Right.
Pete.
So
Now answer
to
his.
answer Schrodinger's cat, if you paid attention, Cliff, you would have noticed I made a distinction between terrestrial and extraterrestrial and gravitational universal. That's what we experience on Earth. On Earth, F is equal to m times a, or the G is equivalent to the a there when you drop a body from a height. It's only you will invoke the big G when it comes to well, this is orbital mechanics, and as I say, that's all purely theoretical. Those planets, that
Where did they
material,
invoke
sky,
big G?
hang
It
on,
had
that
to do
material,
netting
sky, that's all lights up
incantations.
there.
Hey, Pete, you do
That's
realize
all
that
lights up there.
Pete, it's not theoretical because they use it on rockets. And if it was theoretical, damn, we would have a lot more people like not making it, and rockets on the ground in like populated areas. Like, you're crazy.
But Sean, you just said
Rockets, satellites, the
Hang on,
ISS.
Sean. Let me answer Sean, please.
He's got a point. He's got a point that
Let me
we
answer
need
Sean,
to
please.
clear
Let me
it.
answer Sean, please. Excuse me, Sean. Didn't you just say that you adhere to Newtonian
Yes, I do,
ideas
sir.
about gravity because it adheres to the terrestrial system? Rockets, as far as we can perceive,
no.
in terms of the terrestrial system, obey Newton's laws or
But here's the
adhere to
thing.
Newton's.
Here's the thing. It's not just the surface. It goes out into space, just not as far, and it doesn't answer as much.
Yeah, that's how the atmosphere is.
Yep,
You
we
said
went
that
to
so
the we
convincingly,
went to the moon using Newtonian equation of F
Right.
equals big G
So
times
Sean
Wait a
was
minute.
just
We didn't go to
there.
the moon, man. Wait a minute.
What do you need an
Sean
equation to
just
go to the
knocked
moon
down
for?
there, Sean. You get up again.
What?
I said you were just knocked down there by Cliff. You'll get up again because this is Newtonian rockets. Cliff just said we went to the moon using Newtonian mechanics.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Physics.
That's exactly what
Yes.
Sean G said. Also,
Yeah, I said the same stuff. Yeah. What are you
yeah.
talking about,
So
Pete?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Why?
Can I
That's exactly.
can
thank
I
you for
can I
backing
explain
what I was saying.
what he might be talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
go on. Sean
really
does
think you know?
I think he's criticizing the 9.8 that it shouldn't be 9.8 at a certain distance. Is that correct?
Well,
exactly
just because you have the
A different altitude.
we have the inverse square law to deal with that.
But that's what I'm saying.
simple.
That's where it goes
easy.
into theoretics, and of course, the moon
No,
landings
it
are
doesn't.
highly.
Because you can go to the top of a mountain. Oh my God, you're a fucking idiot. Yep.
Well, I'm an idiot for saying the moon landings are highly in debate. For fuck's sake.
Well, yes, we went to the moon.
Actually, I agree with kind of Pete. I don't know. I don't agree with him, but I don't know if we went to the moon. But that's only because my understanding of how they did it and things that don't make sense to me. Not on. I know they didn't.
There are all lights up there, man. Aristarchus is a singular
See?
source.
He goes too far, and I'm not on that same boat.
Direct reflection of the sun, just as you always knew.
Well, the fact
That's
that
just as you always
people,
knew. Sort
the
it
fact
out.
that people don't believe that we went to the moon and that there would be people that actually put on this big production and then go the rest of their lives living like they didn't do anything wrong and then continue to orchestrate NASA as a whole organization and hire and fire people and develop new things.
see.
Jeez, I mean, come on.
This whole moon
all
landing
for the
thing
sake
for
of
me
someone
doesn't
revealing
go
our
that
star,
deep.
Q.
Who the
All
fuck
for the sake of
fakes
someone
things
revealing our
that
star.
far,
Get
dude?
the fuck out of here.
Even your girlfriend eventually tells you she's been faking it.
Oh wow, I've never heard
Ooh.
that. But okay.
My
Sorry.
girlfriend has told me worse.
Sorry for that, you guys. What does that mean? Wow.
Only a demon woman can say some shit like that.
Don't call me a demon, bitch.
She's a god. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Oh,
It's
yeah.
okay.
I would like Pete to explain something that he said a couple of days ago and no one
Oh
paid
no,
attention.
please don't.
What, who, Pete?
Well, I think we have Schrödinger cat. He maybe he knows what Pete is talking about when he said that the stars are located by something that's called the declination and the right ascension. That is
Right.
true, but can you explain what's the right ascension? Because I deal with this thing, but I don't fully understand.
Okay, so my understanding is just to, because Larry was on here talking about this as well. So as you locate yourself on the Earth, right, you will locate yourself in terms of a latitude and a longitude in relation to the north, center, or whatever starting point. It could be the equator, wherever, 0 or 90. So when you look up at the sky, if you were at a certain location on Earth, given by those coordinates, then, as again, my understanding, then you will look for sort of the coordinates at any particular target at the coordinates of your earthly bound location will equate. Does that make sense? So in other words, the declination figure is the declination from the north center, which is your latitude, and the right ascension is your longitude, fundamentally your longitude reading from the Greenwich zero meridian. Zero.
No,
that's as I
no, that's
understand
not the
it.
right ascension. Yeah, so maybe
Okay.
we need Schrödinger cat. Do you know what's the right ascension?
I had the declination right, but as I just said, just to make it
The
clear,
declination is right. Yeah.
right, as I just said, to make it clear though, the Earth is flat and stationary grid-like coordinate system applies to that. So the longitude and latitude system applies to the spherical system, which is of the sky. So I might not have that exactly correct. So Cliff, you might be able to.
I apologize. My wife was talking to me. I was on mute. You were asking about latitude, longitude?
No, about the declination and right ascensions to locate stars.
Okay, well, declination is just the variance that we get between true and magnetic north and true and magnetic south. That's why we have to correct our charts.
Declination for no, not this one.
Are we
To
talking
locate a
about different
star,
declination?
no, the declination of a star and its right ascension to know where a star is.
We use star
How do you
charts for
locate
that.
it?
I mean, the hard work's done for us. We get star charts, and it tells us they come out. I want to say every. I'm guessing. I think they come out every 2 years. They come out with the updated star chart, but don't quote me on that.
I can understand that now. So Cliff, what would be the location of Polaris, for instance?
It's the North Star, so it's above the North Pole. I mean, I don't know
No,
what else
I'm
you
just
want to know
asking.
about it.
Everything has to
It's
have a
called the North
reference.
Star.
Right, everything has to have a reference point. So declination is measured in relation to a distance from the north center, right? So we call this latitude. So if I'm at 70 degrees latitude on Earth and I'm observing a target at 70 degrees, would we consider it 70 degrees declination?
Okay, so if you wanted to look at the North Star, you take out your tool and you shoot a bearing to it. Well, you shoot an azimuth to it, and say your sextant tells you that you're at 70. It's 70 degrees above the horizon, so you know that you're at 70 degrees north latitude.
I think it's all very rough. If you're in the vastness of seas, right, you would just want to, if you have a destination in mind, you just want a general direction that you want to head in. And the closer you get to that heading, then the more you sort of hone in on it. You use more localized charts. It's all
Hold on,
sort of
what do you mean by you're using the word heading in the wrong way? What do you mean when
No,
you
I'm
say
not.
heading?
Heading. So, for instance, if you were sailing from New York to the Canary Islands, you would have
Okay.
everything in bearing in relation to the North Star at night. So you just know a general heading to head there. And as you came closer to the Canary Islands, then you would use more local charts to hone in on a particular target point.
That's true, but you said that whole thing and didn't define the word heading.
Right, a heading being where do you start? Which direction do you start out from? So if I'm standing,
and what is that
here,
measured in?
Well, it's just measured in pointing your finger, isn't it? Really, it's in relation to the
no.
North Star.
See, here's the
That's what I'm saying,
problem
in
I'm
relation
having
to the North Star.
is that I'm trying to explain complex things to you, and you don't know the basics.
Simplify them. So simplify everything. I'm like a child, man. I'm born again,
I
so
agree.
I want everything in simple terms.
Hey,
So
Pete.
so hang on, Cliff.
Hey, Pete,
Let
how
me
about you
ask
just
again.
forget
So if
about
I'm-
it all and then just go back to like sucking your thumb?
I did actually suck my thumb until I was about 16 too. My mother told people until I was 24.
Just taking a swig of Coke.
Until I was 16. But listen, thumb backwards is behemoth.
Shit, my monitor's nearly wore that.
But Cliff, all I'm saying is if you're heading out from New York, if I'm heading out from Ireland here to New York, right? That's our next nearest port of call.
Never told him what headings are measured in, Pete.
No, but hang on. If I'm just
But he asked you. He wanted to know if you knew.
Before the times of technology,
You know.
basic things work, right? So this is what I'm trying to think in terms of.
You said that you just point your finger, Pete. Nobody just points their finger and says, "I'm going this way."
People are saying
there's
a cousin,
no
actually, a
fingers in navigation.
cousin of my son's mom sailed across
Are you
the
really
Atlantic.
going to leave that like this, Pete? You're going to let everybody on YouTube think that sailors just point their finger.
No.
And then make it to the Canary Islands.
Well, they're doing nothing else with their fingers.
Don't let everybody think that's how you
I
think.
never point my finger. I just go
No,
there.
no. I'm a general heading. What does it mean to head somewhere?
No,
What does it mean to head
Schrodinger's asked you a
somewhere?
specific question. Could you ask it again,
Right.
Schrodinger's?
Okay.
Let him
You
ask
don't
you
have
again.
to. I understand it. I understand the question. So let me. It'd be easier. You don't have to ask the
Let
question
him
again.
ask
What I
you
mean is-
again. Let him ask you again, please, Dodo.
If you're on a heading, what is the unit? So if I'm weighing something, I might use pounds or kilograms. So if I'm talking about a heading, what is the unit that I'm using?
I would say degrees then. Degrees from.
Look
from
at the big brain on Pete.
Right, it has to be. That's what I talked about earlier on. So if you go back to this conversation, I mentioned everything being
You're
in
welcome,
relation
Pete.
to the North Center. So thank you, Q. Well, that just clarifies that I was right all along, right? So I'm not as dumb.
Yeah, but you sounded like an idiot.
I'm a dodo, right? So don't
You
call
said,
me an
"Oh, I
idiot.
point my finger," and then I just go to the Canary
Listen
Islands.
to me. If I asked you to point to New York
He
from
asked
where
you what you
are,
measure a
Q,
heading in.
Q, if I asked you to point towards New York, if I said to you, I'll give you $10,000 or whatever,
Yeah,
if you
please,
point
for
towards New
listening
York
to
and
the phone.
walk there and set a heading for yourself, you would think as best you can which direction is New York and set off
She's
a
already
heading.
in New York, so she
She's
can
basically
point
the
down.
I was talking in. Schrodinger's cat has been at sea for 22 years. I'm not
I would
talking about
never go out into the fucking wide ass ocean with an estimated idea of where Europe is, dude.
You have to, based on the
You're
position
right. It's
of-
over here.
I don't have a death wish.
Follow the sound of my voice.
Seriously, dude.
all you need is a compass. Could you not sail? I told you my son's mom's.
I'm not going out on the open ocean with only a compass either. What do I look like?
It's a good way to end up dead.
Ultimately, hey,
that
Cliff,
guy.
could you do it with a compass and a few charts?
Who's Lewis and Clark? What do I look like? Lewis and Clark, dude?
No, but I'm saying, is it possible you could do it if you
I'm
were?
not gonna do it. Why would I do
What's
something
your
like that when
name?
we have all this wonderful technology to keep me from killing myself?
Are you
What's
asking
your
me if I
man's
would
name?
sail?
Castaway, Tom Hanks. Could you do it?
It's a movie.
Yeah, are
It's
you
not a movie.
asking
I have
me-
a song.
Oh
My song,
God, I was
Castaway,
trying
is
to-
what came out at the
I
same
was trying
time.
to clarify your question.
I was going to say, Pete, if you're heading east, right, and you believe you're going east, you might be drifting in the sea, which will change your angle.
You might be going southeast.
No, but you need to get a grasp on where you are, right? So if you take it
Yeah,
that
we
you're on a
wish you
spinning
would.
Earth, hang on,
So
please. If you take it you're on a spinning Earth, right? And you imagine your life was based upon this, you'd fucking work this shit out quickly enough. The Earth is flat,
in the
something is
daytime,
moving,
Well, he
something
did,
is
because it
moving, and
is.
seemingly something is
With the
moving
rest of us.
around a central position, North Star, Polaris Darkness. That's
God.
where you'll start. Simplify everything, people.
And the water's above
Simplify
and the
everything.
water is below.
And it's a
Forget about the
decapitated
sharks.
tree.
Think about it. Think about it. What are you going to do? You know the Earth is moving intuitively. So you base everything against
Reflective
this
mirror
position of
barrier.
Polaris.
And the
Now, what
moon's
I'm
the
saying is
reflection
the
and the
spherical
sun's the
coordinate system
reflection.
applies to the spherical sky, against which all of these luminaries move in unison. We have a
La,
singular force
la.
moving around a carousel.
Are you trying to hypnotize us
On a
with wacky poetry?
No, but as I've often
You know,
said,
Charles Manson used to try to
contour-
hypnotize people with wacky poetry.
the contour of the reflective screen is all important. It begins low at the north, highest at the equator, and lowest at the southern peripherals. This is vital, all important. It's like looking
As
into.
I was going down the
Vital to
stairs,
what?
I met
What
a
is
man
it
who wasn't
vital
there.
to?
into your bathroom mirror.
What's it
and then
vital
you
to?
go,
Is
hang
it
on.
vital to knowing the answer to Schrodinger's question?
Right. Well,
No.
I'll finish by saying I get back to.
But you
it's-
don't
it's
even
like-
know how to
it's
develop
like
a
looking
heading
into your
before you try
bathroom
to sail
mirror.
to New York, Pete. I don't think you're going to make it.
Hang on. It's like looking at your bathroom mirror.
Are you
and
going to
then
stand
going
at the front of the boat
curve.
when you point your finger, or where are you going to stand when you're pointing your
Your
finger?
life depended on it. You could work this
He's
shit
going to
out
end up in
based on
Newfoundland if he's lucky.
Your life does depend on it,
right,
and you
the
haven't
Earth
worked it out yet.
water is still- the biggest variation in water levels in terms of oceans Earth-wide is 100 feet, which is the highest variation between high and low tide. Earth-wide.
You should
The biggest
try it.
variation.
You might find some of that
Absolute
missing land on the
horizontal.
flat Earth.
Sky is contoured
Yeah.
and everything moves in unison because everything is a reflection of a singular source, Aristarchus. Don't think Aristarchus. Now, you know, inside you as well. You are Aristarchus. You soul. You have a soul. You were created from the dust. The dust of what? Stardust, we're told we are. R.I. Starcus dust, maybe. That's the crystalline portion you have in your pineal brain that needs
Yeah,
our
I think
awakening.
you've been doing something with some stardust, Pete. I agree.
Now, Cliff, back to you.
Pete,
There's a
I
little
wanna
too much
tell you
stardust
something,
in your
please.
life, Pete.
Pete and everyone, I want to tell you something about Pete, please.
What,
Does
he's
everyone
fucking
here
mad?
does everyone here know what's the matter and antimatter? I think they cancel themselves or something like that. So the point is, I see Pete that he has a lot of information and he has a lot of anti-information that spoils everything that he says. Because I always hear something, you say there's some knowledge in your mind. When you said right ascension, this really impressed me. But then you spoil it with a lot of other things that you say. So maybe you know more than some people in this room, but you say other things that ruin it.
Yeah, but forget about that. Ask me to expand on it.
Yeah, forget about that. We don't care about that.
I want to drill down
this is not
on.
the place. That's
We
why
don't
I'm
care.
trying to squeeze
We're
everything
getting on
in.
a boat and we're pointing our finger. God damn it!
So all we're asking, Khalid, will you ask the question to Cliff
You got a
again?
compass? That's all we
I
need.
want to clarify.
A compass
No,
and
just
a
a
finger
finger.
to point.
Finger. Follow the finger.
Yeah.
I want to ask about thumb spelled backwards. You said thumb spelled backwards was a real
Behemoth!
Wait
No,
till you hear this
no,
one.
There was a whole section between
Behemoth.
Dodo and Aristarchus called the Behemoth, guys. I forgot to mention that.
This is
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, but thumb spelled backwards has the H and then the T. So how do you get the
Right,
TH
right.
sound
So
at the
Cliff,
end of man?
hang on a second.
No, this is basic letters. Can you even letter?
Cliff has never heard this, or probably most of you have never heard this, but this is like ages.
I forgot about the Behemoth.
If you look at your keyboard, Cliff, can you locate the H? Everybody here, locate the H in your keyboard, right? Now,
Okay.
create the two diagonals. List the 5 numbers that jump out. If your keyboard is anything like my keyboard, a little bit of shifting is
letters?
necessary. Yeah, the letters.
So-
sorry, the letters that jump out.
So now,
Well, is it a QWERTY? Is it a QWERTY keyboard or?
right,
It's a bum
'cause-
hut.
Right, yeah, it's a standard keyboard. I take it that this goes across the board. I can tell you if you want.
No,
but
because
I'd rather
Germans
do it
use a
yourself.
different keyboard than we do. So
Yeah,
do,
seriously, Pete. How ignorant.
Well,
It could be alphanumeric.
It's TUHBM on my keyboard. It jumps out like the X in the center, like Christ is known as X in terms of Christmas or Xmas. Do you see that in the center of your keyboard?
Here's the problem. I understand Pete, but nobody else does.
Yeah, but
Well,
hang on. So you see it on your keyboard.
Okay,
Can you see that
English
in
is
the
a
center of your
relatively new
keyboard?
language.
Yes or no? So a simple question, yes or no? Can you see that X in the middle of your keyboard, which spells out THUMB?
So?
You?
No, it's all over the place.
That's an X. That's an X in the
Hey,
middle.
I bet you guys, I bet you Q's the first letter on your keyboard.
Yep. Of course it is.
Right. Anyway, if you don't see that, that's fair enough. H is in the middle because HU man, right? We are
Mine's
H. H is the 8. Hang on, let me just say to Cliff. So Cliff,
Why is
you
the
know you
P
have
so
the
far
thumbs
from the
up and
O,
thumbs
Pete?
down. No, you have the thumbs up and thumbs down. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the thumb got us places. If we go backwards, everything is reversed. We have B, M, U, H, T. Now, when you sound that out, we have B, M, T. B, M, T. Now, say that. Say what I just said 10
your
times.
keyboard's different
Tell me
than
you don't
everybody
have the
else's.
emails. I'm done. Dodo out.
Yeah, my rebuttal
You've
will
got
be
a weird keyboard. You have not got the
Right.
same keyboard as me.
Yeah, you don't have a QWERTY keyboard. Your
So-
first top letter should be QWERTY.
Absolutely
Even
do,
if that
man.
were
I have an
true, what does that
I have an
prove?
Asus
'Cause
computer. I have an
English
Asus
is
computer.
oh my god, English is a relatively new language. So if you're talking about
No,
all
not in
these
Pete's
things,
world. Not in Pete's
yeah,
world.
that's probably true. Never mind.
In Pete's world, English was the original language, and we had to go through all those languages to come back to it.
Forget about referring me back to officialdom. And see Carlos here. Carlos in the house. Carlos, you're going to be famous for that gift, man, someday. But Cliff, forget about that. Deal with what I'm saying here. Be ma hut. Be mut. If you say that 10 times, you're going to get behemoth. I'll refer you back to something else. The Book of Job. Remember, we're told that 9/11 was an inside job. Look at where go reread the Book of Job, right, and tell me where Job was from. Tell me where Job was from. Honestly.
Aristarchus.
No, I'm not talking about 9/11. Sean, bring up the Book of Job and just show us where Job was from. We also remember Steve Jobs and the Apple
Bristol.
Corporation, Newton's Apple.
Jabba the Hutt?
No, hang on. He was from Brighton.
What does the apple represent? You should be asking yourself. And what does the bite out of the apple represent?
Yeah, why aren't you guys asking yourselves these things?
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon you all know Q, and you all know that you all know. So what am I going to do with that?
I didn't know.
I didn't know that you all knew that you all knew.
As you can tell by talking about
you
it,
knew that I didn't
they
know
don't
that you all knew that you all
study any
knew.
of it.
Why are you guys faking Pete out? You know.
That's funny.
I know
Why
what he's
you
talking
guys
about,
all
but
faking
nobody
him
else
out?
does.
Q, can you help me, please? What do I know? I don't know what I know because nobody's told me.
And it made sense. So
I'm confused.
The only thing that I
Exactly.
know is that I am the world's foremost expert on the things that I know. So being told what I know by a layperson when I'm the expert is kind of weird.
Yo,
Yeah.
what do you think if we all like showed up to like the littlest schoolhouse and Pete was the teacher? How long until he'd have us all just run around in circles for no reason?
About 10 minutes.
Children love me. Children love me, and every time I picked up my son from the school, I asked him, "How would you get on the slave farm?" I let them know that you think for yourself.
Shouldn't do
You
that
know?
to your kid, dude. It's depressing.
Well, forget about that. That's all right. No, we don't
Yeah, I
need
want
to.
to. I already forgot it.
But interesting about the thumb, be he math, be he me th. This th keeps coming into things. Theta, right? What does the theta
TH?
represent?
Why is
The
TH
symbol,
in
the
all
one
these
and the
words?
zero. The one and the zero is the I, O, or
Oh
the
no,
10.
it's a conspiracy, guys.
But hang on,
So is
hang on,
SH.
Q.
Let's
Hang
go
on,
through all
Q.
the
The
words that
10.
have TH in it real quick.
Well, listen to the coherency of what I'm saying.
Hey,
The 10
Pete,
is
you're
there.
just in a world of synchronicity right now, so just flow with it.
Hey,
Right.
Now
So
that was a good album.
Hang on. Whoever
You
said
think the
that,
way we
this
think I'm a
is
fight
about
bitch
2
then?
years ago for me, right, Q? This is about 2 years ago. But be, he, me, th. So we have the th, the theta. Look for the symbol of the theta. It's circumference and the diameter. It's the relationships therein, which is pi, 3.14
That's
to
the
1.
sound of the
3 times
strength of
1
lady.
4 is 42. 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything, right?
Hello, the unicorn's back.
It's a theta. So what does it mean to be? But hang on. I can expand upon it. What does it mean to be th? Well, the 1 is the countable, like the material world. 0 is the immaterial world, the uncountable. What's the immaterial world? How does that apply to me? Think about your
The
thoughts, man.
waters above and the waters below.
You knows all this stuff.
So what if I'm Chinese?
What
What if I'm Chinese and I don't have a T or an H? Then what?
Well, then
This
you look
is
at
the
pictures.
end,
Then you look at pictures,
beautiful
because
friend.
this is the true language.
Hey, I got a question. I got a serious question.
Serious questions
Well,
aren't allowed.
hey, come on
A
then.
serious question. Can anybody
Not
tell
allowed.
me?
I won't allow it.
Can anybody tell me the diameter of the sun?
Yeah,
It's about
I
that
can.
big.
I can.
Huh?
The moon shadow is 70 miles across in diameter. That's the
Carried
barrier,
away by
the
a
diameter
moonlight
barrier
shadow.
in between.
Yeah, but I want to know what the diameter of the sun is in miles.
I just told you, 70 miles.
Can't you Google shit like that, dude? What?
Oh, that's incorrect.
No, that's close enough. That's close enough. 70 miles.
Well,
It's in.
How come if you take 24 hours, so you take 24 times 60 minutes times 60, which is 60 seconds, right? So you take 24 times 60 times 60.
666. You're the devil.
How come it equals the diameter of the sun?
That's
In
the
what?
devil.
Well, why? Hang on. So
Obviously
he has a
because of the
question.
devil.
I can answer that. Why is the sun said to be 93 million miles away? With my question to you, why didn't Flight 93 crash on 9/11?
Oh my God.
93 represents 999.
This can you've opened, Maxwell.
Everything is metaphorical. Is my
No,
answer.
this has been proven. This is
No.
the diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles and some change.
Yeah. But
So
3,600 times 24 is
I was a bit lost there then,
86,400.
right? 70 miles.
exactly. So you see these same numbers pop up over and over again, and there's a
So
million
what?
different ways that these numbers pop up.
Oh,
1080
yeah,
is another one.
Can I explain to you why your numbers are all fucked up?
Thank you.
You
Okay,
understand
please
what my
do.
answer is?
Why are my numbers fucked up?
Because you watch too many YouTube videos about 666.
Now, when you give the diameter of the sun, is that statute miles or nautical miles?
That would be English miles.
Okay. Now, 60
Which
degrees
is-
per mile. 60.
What?
Go ahead. Finish your
No,
clarification.
I was gonna just say go ahead to you.
The Navy has
Okay.
jurisdiction in
Now,
space where the sun
when
is.
you said 1 degree is 60 miles, were you talking about nautical miles or statute miles?
That's a joke.
What's nautical
That's a
miles
joke.
and statute miles got to do with the diameter of the sun?
Because you're mixing statute miles and nautical miles and then thinking that you proved something. You're mixing your
nautical miles is not the diameter a straight line across.
What does that even mean?
So what is a mile? We have to ask.
Oh my
What is
God.
Set the control.
A
Do you know what
diameter of a straight line?
What's
Q, what are you
What's a
doing?
diameter of something?
Oh my God. Okay. A
It's
statute
the
mile-
radius squared,
Will
correct?
you stop and listen? A statute mile
Q's
is
bored.
oh my God.
I love it when Boulder.
Go ahead. Try and explain me what you're
Yes,
talking about.
a statute mile is 5,280 feet. Statute miles was what you gave the diameter of the sun in. When you said 60 degrees, 60 miles per degree, you were talking about nautical miles, which is 6,000 feet per mile. So you're mixing up a figure that has 5,280
Why do you
feet
think I'm using? Why am I not using statute? Why am I still not using the same measurement?
because you didn't. That's why
a
I think
standard
you didn't.
measurement of the mile here is the exact same as a statute mile. So I'm not using nautical miles. I'm not going to mix measurement systems.
Okay. Then if you're going to do that, then you need to say that 1 degree is 69.7 miles, not 60, because in standard miles, 1 degree is 69.7 miles, not 60.
Okay, here's my math. Here's my redo of my math. Okay, so
Thank
if we
you, sir.
use the same measurement, statute
Who
miles,
are you talking to? 'Cause I
the
can't hear you.
diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles and some
Well,
change,
they
is
can't
it
hear
not?
me. Hello?
What?
Can you hear me?
Shut up, Fry boy.
Not again. Fuck's sake.
I can hear you, Brian, but people are talking.
Let's get some
Here's the rest of the. Here's the problem. Here's the big problem between globers and flat earthers. neither side wants to look outside the box.
You're
That's the
you're
problem.
pretty you're pretty antagonistic there. I want to get a resolution on this. So because of course this is all nonsense in the first place. But what is a mile exactly? And I've often pointed this out as a great argument to debunk anything to do with
So you
polarity.
just didn't even let Schrodinger's tell you why this
I
guy's
know,
wrong.
but let me just clarify.
guy
again.
watched
I'm
too
not
many
wrong
YouTube
because he
videos.
can't.
Hang on,
He
let me
can't
clarify
tell me I'm
between the
wrong
two.
because I'm not wrong.
So what exactly is a mile? And that goes back to what
Pete,
exactly is
Pete,
meter.
Pete,
Continue. What's
Pete,
the right answer?
Pete,
Quick.
Pete,
Off you go.
stop. Off you go.
I'm done, yeah?
Off you go.
Pete, go off.
Off you go.
Get off.
Schrodinger's cat. Go ahead.
Here. Leave.
Yeah, my only point was that you cannot mix nautical miles and statute miles in one formula and expect to get the right answer. It's as if you went from inches to, or better yet, if you were using yards and meters and using them in the same equation and thinking you're going to get a right answer. They're not the same measurement. They're different.
So is the sun's diameter measured in nautical miles then?
You're the one that came up with this. I'm just telling you that you're wrong. You didn't even bother to check.
I just gave you some information and you immediately discredited it because you assumed that I was using different measurements for different equations.
My question to you is, did you even bother to check before you came on the internet and were wrong?
Of course I've checked. I've checked this information on several different websites, including.
But you couldn't tell me the difference between a statute and a nautical mile. So how
you
did
didn't give me a chance?
I bet I did.
No, you interrupted, and then everybody else joined in and.
Okay, so I'll give you
ridiculing.
Let's give them a couple minutes to look it up.
I've already told you what it is.
What is it?
I thought you didn't have a chance.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to say it again. So the diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles and some change. Okay.
In what unit?
Oh my God. Does it matter? They're all the same
I just said
unit.
It did.
They're all the same unit.
Oh my God. Did you not hear anything that I said?
Statute miles.
Okay, so why are you using 60 miles per degree when that's
864. Q 64 is what factorial wise?
Shut up, Dodo.
Never mind. Just stay in your little box.
Yes, stay in our box and don't believe that the world is controlled by 666. Okay, thanks.
Continue on, Maxwell.
What does that have anything to do with it?
I think it's no relevance what Cliff just came in with here. You're not saying that this is how we recommend, or this is how it's read, and this is the way it could be read. No, I don't think that was your point at all.
No, you could read it that way, but you would be wrong. So
how do you read it then? Are the official figures right or not?
Let me give you an example.
You did already. You told them meters and yards.
If I said that the house across the street from me is 40 meters wide, and it's 100 yards away from my house, and then tried to do some calculations with that, how well would that work?
Depends on what type of calculations you were trying to use. If you're going to pave the way between both houses, that would work well enough.
Okay, I can't compete with that dumb. I'm sorry, I'm going to mute.
And there's you spent 22 years at sea with a load of sailors. Funny that.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything, Pete?
Well, he can't compete with that dumb, right?
Does anybody else see? Is everybody else following what I'm saying?
I am.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I bet you
that maybe
the rest of the panel can't even explain what a nautical mile is and a statute mile is.
I just said, okay.
You know, yeah. Q has a lot to say, but you never hear any scientific explanation out of her.
Hey.
Why don't you tell us where you got this research you did so much of?
How about you tell me what a statute mile is?
What's the connection?
A statute mile is 5,280
No,
feet.
Q. What's a nautical mile, Q?
69.
Not a statute mile.
It's 6,080 feet.
So if everybody, I'm just gonna say something, and this is stupid because listening to you guys, I come on here to get information and listen to information, and there's only a couple. Yeah, exactly. and there's only a couple of people on here that make any sense, but the rest of everybody seems to say that they know everything. I'm not saying that I know everything. I come on here to get information and learn
said
stuff.
they know
but
everything?
Everybody else sits here and pushes like they know everything
said
and
any-
talks
hey,
and
who
downsizes
has
everybody
said-
like they know
who
everything.
has
But
said
if
they
you
know
really knew
everything?
anything, you
Max,
wouldn't be here in the first
Max,
place.
Look,
who
it's okay
said
that you
hang
didn't
on,
know
Channel,
the difference
Channel,
between
hang on,
statue
Channel.
and nautical.
Hang
It's
on,
okay.
Hang on, Channel. Max,
Go
who
ahead,
said they
keep
know
your
everything?
badgering.
Who said
Okay,
they know
take it
everything?
easy.
Who
Take
said
it
they know
easy.
everything?
Come on, take it easy. Maxwell seems like a good guy to me, so take it
Pete,
easy.
stop. Max, who said they know everything? Tell me who did
Yeah,
it. I'll kick
Pete.
him off.
Pete, I would rather
Max.
have like a one-on-one conversation with you somewhere than.
Yeah, Max. Who said they know everything? I'll kick him off my panel right now.
Come on, Sean. Come on.
Who?
I know.
We're all different minds here. We're all different minds.
No, seriously, Max. Name one person on my panel who said they know everything. I'll kick them off
Schrodinger's
the panel right now.
Nobody did, but everybody badgers other people like that and put them down to the point to where it's like, well,
No,
okay,
no,
I've
not
never heard
everybody.
anything.
No, that's
Don't
not,
care
no.
about the feeling.
No, they don't.
All right, leave him out.
We did that to Pete,
Well,
but Pete
okay,
did it
so
back.
Q
Pete does it
doesn't.
too.
You're telling me that Q doesn't jump in every 5 seconds and
If
badger
something-
put down
if
somebody is
something
Comic relief.
is ridiculous, I don't mind it at all. If she's doing it just to be an ass, I'll say something. But if something is ridiculous, why not? I got a fucking unicorn up on my fucking screen every time Pete talks.
All right, but listen, Maxwell seems like a nice guy, and we're all
Calm
looking
down,
to converse
Maxwell.
here and develop conversation.
Put your silver
Let me
hammer
just bring
away,
it back on-
Maxwell.
Let me just bring it back on track. So I've thought about this ages ago. It all comes back to the distinction between the nautical mile and the statute mile.
We
What are
don't
different-
need to
if-
elect a new pope.
For instance, if the Earth is not a sphere and if water is always flat, is there any distinction at all to be made? I think these are the
Yes.
basic
No,
questions.
but the problem is
What is
that
the meter? And last thing, Q, what is the meter? How is the meter defined in the first place? When you look into it, you'll see an intimate relationship with the second and also back to the sun again,
thank
which is where
God.
we left. My very last thing, at 864 miles, 1,000 miles, give or take a bit of
the
change.
whole thing is the whole thing has just gone right over your
64 is
head.
8 times 8, and there we have 888, which is 24, 42 backwards. Remember, I just mentioned 42. That's all written into the script, is my view,
What does it mean? What does it mean, P? What is the 42 and the 8s and all of it? What does it mean? What's it mean?
That's for a deeper discussion. I'm just saying to point it out. But
What am I supposed to say
I
next?
welcome
I don't
open
even
discussion.
understand what I'm supposed to say next. It just seems so matter of fact and
Well,
useless.
don't say anything. It's not about saying anything. Just
It doesn't mean anything.
Well, actually, comment Q on the statute mile versus the nautical mile, and what is the distinction? Why the distinction is there?
That's what Maxwell was presenting.
Yeah, but he asked you the similar question. So what is the distinction for us to understand as individuals? I understand the
About 1,000 feet or more, dude. That's the
why is the
distinction.
distinction made? First of all,
Fucking God.
I don't get what you're even. Okay, here's the thing.
The distinction was made because we
Yes,
switched to
yes,
nautical
yes.
miles for navigation because it makes it easier with latitude and longitude to use 60 rather than 69.7. It makes the math much
Because
easier.
a nautical mile cancels out. A nautical mile simply cancels out the deviations from the ground. It's a straight line.
It's going to be a straight line over a curve, though. And I knew, Maxwell, that this was vital. I knew that this was a vital distinction, Sean, years ago, and I'm glad.
You know
that,
what, Pete? We get a
glad
straight
you
line
have
over a
it back
curve
in
when
like
we
four-
observe
4 months.
Polaris, and it's tangent line to the observers on the Earth. Wow. Which can only happen on a sphere. But okay.
Well, this is something empirical.
You don't even understand that, Pete, so whatever. It doesn't matter.
Empirical, you. And every point I bring up bears expanding upon, first of all, but also bears thinking about.
Well, that's
The water is
cool.
flat.
I happen to have something I want to show you, Pete. Actually, you'll be able to see it in
Do
a
it.
second. Hang on, give me a second.
Hey, Pete, you haven't changed your profile picture.
Okay, Pete. I want you
Fuck
to.
it, man.
I'm gonna share
This is what
Pete.
time it is. You ready? Listen. This is what time it is.
Okay. Anyway,
I
so
turn the
you,
microphone on?
Pete, you see this? I got
Yeah,
two
man.
questions. I got 2 questions on this, and this is awesome that this actually happens. Okay, so for one, we're going to bring this back to gravity. Do you understand what we're looking at, right? You understand how, so that green dot, we're going to say that's the ISS, right?
It's a flat Earth.
Oh, but it's
Half
not because
flat Earth, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good question. So let's say we are Polaris. We're standing on Polaris. Why can't we see anything in the southern hemisphere?
There's a contour to the barrier above, Sean. There's a limitation to in terms of distance. If we go so far, we go like the clouds appear to diminish and curve over some sort of an horizon. Yeah, we are dealing with an enclosed system of a certain dimension. I've mentioned it many times before. The Kármán line distance is the distance, the highest distance, perpendicular distance from ground to barrier, which is the equator distance.
What the fuck are you saying?
Come on, can you get that into your brain?
Water is below.
60 miles.
Dude, why?
He's talking gibberish.
Get that into your brain.
Barrier,
60 miles.
barrier,
We have a barrier above us, 60 miles at the equator,
What's
and
the
we have
distinction between the
kind of thousands of miles along the ground. Get the perspective into your brain. You're back into reality now, you know. How do your eye work? See how your eye works, Sean, and then you can rule out what I
Okay.
Well, we can't hear what you just said because everybody cuts you off.
Exactly.
Exactly
What I
Because
said.
we've heard it
Because
through.
it was the same answer for every question.
Everything.
Kármán
And
line.
it's about waters above and waters
Just because it gets
below,
into your brain and you can't comprehend what he's saying doesn't mean
Max.
it.
Okay, Max, you answer the question.
Look at
Why?
Max.
I can't.
If we're standing
Don't
on
make me pull up
Polaris,
a hangout.
if we're
I
standing
can't
on,
because the picture that you're
Show you
depicting
how
right now to
unoriginal
me
you
is
are.
flat.
okay, then where's the rest of the world?
I don't know.
Okay.
It looks flat to me from my point of observation. It looks flat.
Okay,
Maybe you're
then where
blind.
is the rest of the world?
You got me.
Oh, you got me
On
too.
the other side. I don't know. You're looking down on the
You
top
really
of a
can't
How do you
even
know it's
identify
there?
those
Hey,
continents.
if
Maxwell, what
it's out of
continents are
sight,
those?
how do you know it's there? Because you can't see it.
What
Dude,
the?
what?
It's just
What?
a cartoon.
You
You
can't
have to have different
How do you know that
factors,
it's there?
information about the different factors involved in
I don't know
Earth.
how to answer your question. Honest to God, like I'm like, huh? What?
If there's nothing there, how can nothing exist?
What are you? Nothing of
Nice.
what?
Nothing can't exist.
Nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, but so why is nothing
I like
nothing?
Maxwell. I do.
If nothing is
So
if nothing
when it's dark
is
outside,
what
does
it
it cease to
represents,
exist?
in fact, nothing can't be nothing because nothing is factually something.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
Pete makes more sense.
Thanks for totally like derailing
Very good
the whole
expression
point
there.
of why Shanji's showing this, guys.
I think Pete shared his stash.
I think so. Okay.
Did
got
Maxwell
enough for
and Pete
everyone.
like mind meld or something while we
Look,
weren't
I want
looking?
to show you something. Look, Maxwell.
Well,
this
he's
is-
smart
this is-
and I'm a dodo, right?
Hey, Maxwell.
He's
I
a
wanna show you
poser,
something.
man.
Yeah, hey Maxwell, I want to show you this, man.
Dude, I
wanna
can't tell what that is because my screen is flat, so everything in my perspective is flat.
What a troll.
Yeah, you're trolling, aren't you, buddy?
Trolling.
Fuck no, I'm just making an argument.
Oh, you're serious?
That's the point, isn't it?
This is the impression you want to give the entire world on YouTube of yourself
I
right
don't
now.
give a shit what the world
Seriously?
thinks about me. That's
Oh, yeah.
that's what everybody else's problem is.
Okay,
Maxwell,
fine then. You
hang
can't
on.
tell the difference
Maxwell,
because of
show me.
flatness.
Okay, what you said is that the Earth looked flat. See what I put up there right now? That's what it would look like if it was a flat Earth you were looking at in this one right here. See, watch this.
Yeah,
Ready?
you see how you can see all the continents?
Now watch this. Boom! Where are the rest of the fucking world?
What
Where's the
happened?
Yeah,
How come there's
where-
two worlds?
Okay, Max.
Now you're saying there's two worlds? I don't
No.
get it.
Oh my God.
No,
Okay,
I'm-
so
I'm-
Okay, just
yeah,
Yeah, there's a real one and there's an imaginary one.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. You're wasting my time now.
Yeah.
Nobody said there was two
I
worlds.
will give you this. You hung on for a long time. This is like your fourth time on the panel.
Give the man some credit, Sean. He's doing fine. I mean, he's asking
Why are you
me.
putting words in people's mouths?
Using a
Only
couple of
to you,
cartoons
Pete.
What are
on
you
video.
on, Pete?
You have no idea whether they're right or wrong or represent reality. You have no
Well, we
idea.
definitely know that he was wrong because he said that Sean said that there were two worlds and he definitely was not.
Dude, I'm not a flat
Dodo,
earther,
I
so
thought it was that dodo.
You are
I
trolling.
before me. That was my John Wayne impression there.
Maxwell Silverhammer.
Butchered my hair.
oh.
What y'all gonna do with that wood down there?
I'd like to hear more
Cut
from
it up and give
Maxwell
it to
and
you.
Cliff, actually. This is a very interesting debating point.
I got a saw.
Huh?
Nice one. I'd like to hear. Honestly, I'd like to hear more from Maxwell. What is the distinction
Pete?
between the
Yeah, I bet you would.
and the
Why, Pete?
nautical
Why,
mile?
Pete?
So hang on, Cliff. So you just said, Cliff, that it's because the Navy wants it simple, so they just reduced it down to 60 miles for the ease of
No,
calculation.
no, I
Say about
didn't. No,
when you say
no,
about the
no.
intricacies
That's not.
of
No,
hard
bullshit.
That's what I gathered from it anyway. So
No,
just continue on with
because you're misrepresenting what I
Maxwell.
said.
To listen in.
No, I did not. When did the word Navy come out of my mouth? I said when nautical charts were being developed, they developed nautical miles because it makes the math more straightforward. 60 nautical miles per degree is a whole lot simpler than doing 69.7. Is that news to anybody?
Yes, of course it is math-wise. So 2 multiplied by 3 is easier than multiplying 2 by 17 over 35, right? So, but hang on, we have a real reality to us. And does the longitude and latitude system apply to the Earth, or does it not? Yes or no? You have to be exact, right?
Of
Or else
course
if
it
you go,
applies
if
to
you
the
start
Earth.
off on the wrong heading, Cliff, when
Oh,
you're
you
heading
don't know what
from
a
New
heading
York,
is.
hang
You
on,
didn't point your finger right.
when you're heading from New York to Ireland, if you start off on a slightly wrong heading, you could end up hundreds of miles off key, right off
That's why you don't just point your finger, Pete.
Thank you.
This is why I'm asking
Follow the
Cliff, so
finger.
why would you, for the sake of calculations, reduce down a factor by, what is that, 10%?
What do you, say that again?
Why,
I don't know
for the
why
sake
we're
of
still
ease
letting you
of
talk, but go ahead.
calculations, would you reduce down 69 to 60 for ease of calculation? And that's why I said it's against the backdrop of a fixed
Why not pick some
longitude
arbitrary number like
system
40?
already described for the Earth. I think they're reasonable questions.
I
I'm
think
just
we're
trying to
picking
find
up a
out.
CB radio also.
Wait, I need
What's
to
that all
listen
about?
to Carlos's phone call right
I don't
now.
work in this area,
Yeah.
so I'm just thinking on the go.
Guys,
but, yeah.
we're listening to Carlos. Oh, he's muted.
He's on the phone.
Sorry about
He's
that, guys.
We're only trying to listen.
I'm on hold.
I have to go for a couple of minutes. I hope the conversation develops around that between Maxwell and Cliff. And I hope you stay around as well, Maxwell. It's interesting to talk to you about.
Actually,
Pete's off to talk to his mum.
Goodbye.
No, I'm off to
Carlos,
just come inside.
if Carlos puts that hold music back on, that lady will probably say something smarter than what Pete said.
Yeah.
Your business is important to us.
Please continue to hold.
God damn it.
Someone will
Your
be
call
right
is
with
important
you.
to us. That's why we're ignoring you.
Okay, guys, let's bring. God damn it, Carlos. All right, let's bring this back because wow, it went on a tangent.
Yeah, where were we?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get really wound up when people just want to throw out shit that. There's a few things that I know a lot about, and that's one of them. And when someone just wants to come and shit on it, I get a little bit wound up.
No, Cliff, you're wrong, sir.
You have no fault.
No.
Okay. So, does anybody have any
I just want to say, any
actual
flat earther
questions?
who wants to debate with me about CGI and the ISS and satellites, I'm game.
Ooh.
Yeah, you were the other day.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that. That was brilliant. Actually, I'd like to know a lot more about that.
Yeah, well, I didn't even have anything ready. I might get actually something ready to present. But I just everybody just
Carlos, stop ruining the illusion of shapeshifters.
Actually, I have a debate on Saturday.
Let me tell you something though.
Last night, all you did was like prove to me that like that shit's real. Reptiles and all that.
Dude, I was watching this whole fucking weirdo. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me sometimes, but I was watching a wife swap. Like, YouTube like takes me down weird paths sometimes, and then I'm doing something, so I don't really even realize what it is. But then I ended up like looking at it and watching it for a few minutes, and it was all morphed out really bad. So like people were talking out of the sides of their faces, and like some people's faces were like on the furniture. Okay.
513.
And I was like, dude, this is like acid, man.
What, you mean they'd been attacked by acid?
No, like looking at this fucking morphed out wife swap, dude. Like people's faces were getting like, because it would be like they would go to like the family sitting on the couch and then to like a close up of the person giving like a testimonial. You know how these fucking reality shows are, right?
Yeah.
And when it would go to the close-up, it would keep the other frame underneath. So the person would get morphed into the sofa. So their face would be on this. It was crazy morph.
Ooh,
and I was like, oh my God.
Have you ever
And you
fallen
thought, this is
asleep
some
with
good
YouTube
shit.
on?
This is like acid. I did. And I was like, wow. And then because I had seen Carlos's little thing and I was like, wow. So it's just sight. That's just how it is.
Hold on. You
That's
saw
just how it is.
Carlos's little thing?
It doesn't matter if it's digital or if it's like a chemical. You get that same kind of a morph.
Ooh.
So that's like all connected. It's all connected to the way we see.
Hey,
It
Carlos,
has
what
nothing
was
to
the
do
name of
with
that?
like anything enlightened.
I'm sorry.
I know. It's okay because I do it too.
No, I was asking, what was the name of that transition you were saying? Because I need to look that up.
Oh, for the video transition. Oh, it's a simple cross transition.
What's that called again?
Cross transition.
A cross transition. I need to look that up.
Cross
Okay.
fade.
Cross fade transition. Let me write that shit down.
Yeah,
right.
It's very simple. You just fading one out and the other one's fading in. It's very used all the time on video. But the problem is when the second video is just got the exact same background, then all it looks, and that stays the same, never changes. So I'll be right back.
Dude, that's what happened with this wife swap, dude.
CIA's calling.
Hey, I just want to apologize to Schrodinger because I just understand why he jumped on me about statute miles and nautical miles, because I just assumed that I was using statute miles to begin with, because that's how you start it. You have to figure that out before you figure out the area of a sphere. So I mean,
it's all good. I accept your apology, and that's very honest of you, and I appreciate it.
But I assume that's why. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's why. It's because it's a different unit of measurement, even though they're both called miles.
Yeah, because you can measure the nautical diameter of a sphere. So I was just assuming that you understood that I was automatically going to measure the.
Well, if you walk on to.
I finally got put off a hold.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm back. I didn't know you guys were still talking about things. So.
Yeah, if you were to walk onto a ship and go up in the pilot house, we would be saying miles, miles, miles. We don't typically say nautical miles. But then if you were in a truck in a big rig and they said miles, it's a completely different thing. And we both use them colloquially because we're both speaking the same language. It's like if I said pounds.
Ship, you find a captain's log.
I'm sorry, say again.
I say if you were to walk into a bathroom in a ship, you may find a captain's log.
Oh.
Well, no, the captain has his own bathroom.
Head.
See, I was trying to use terms people would understand, because if I said head, a lot of people on here would be like, "What the fuck?"
I know in the Navy it's called the head.
Yeah, we call it the head.
Well, okay.
But it's like you guys. Your gallon is different to our gallon. Our gallon's bigger.
Yeah. Well, you have a metric ton and a standard ton.
Our gallon over here is approximately 4.5 liters. Your gallon, I think, is it something like 3.8 liters? It's smaller.
Yeah, it's like 3.75 something. I'm guessing.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm estimating, but like your pound is definitely different than our pound.
Is it?
Well,
what's your pound? How many ounces?
Your pound is money. Our pound is 16 ounces of something.
A lot of us still use pounds and ounces for weight over here. We because of the age range of our population. We've still got pound sterling, but over here we use both imperial and metric. If you drive around over here
in the UK, because y'all still use miles a lot.
Yes, we use miles. We use miles per hour. If you say to somebody, "Oh, it's so many kilometers an hour," I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know how fast I drive in kilometers an hour, because I drive in miles per hour, because all of our speed limits are in miles per hour. All of our distances are in miles. But
you
we've got
work out kilometers from miles. What's the formula for miles to kilometer?
I can't remember.
Hey,
hold on. It's pretty simple stuff. You learn that in school, right? Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah,
right.
When I was in
that's not
Germany,
right, Sean. No, that's not right, Sean. No, it's not. No, it's not. You can do. I'll tell you exactly what it is. You're close enough, but not quite right.
In America, our speedometers have both, but when I went to Germany, it only had kilometers, and I was all screwed up. I didn't know how fast.
Yeah,
I was
ours
going.
have both, but the kilometers is very small. The
80,
numbers
80
very small.
kilometers. 80 kilometers is 50 miles. So if you give me 100 kilometers, I'll divide by 8
right.
and multiply it by 5. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in
1
the
mile
UK,
is
what are your speed limits? Are they in miles or kilometers?
Miles an
Like
hour.
on a speed limit sign, it's miles per hour. Oh, that's
Yep.
cool. I didn't know that. I thought
Yep.
all of Europe was on, strictly metric.
Not Great Britain.
Do you know the origins, Cliff? Do you know the origins of how the thinking behind how the meter was defined in the first place, or the second, for that matter, the second or the meter?
It was the French.
I can
French,
speak. I can speak about the second. The second is based on the oscillation of the valence electron of cesium-133.
Right, that's a more recent sort of thing. But can you go back to times before that, or do you know?
Well, no, I'll use the standard flat Earth answer of I wasn't there.
Well, so you'll know when that system then came into being and acceptance. So there was a system beforehand. So you're saying you don't read history books, or you don't know anything about the history of navigation.
Was it in a pyramid or something?
Hold on.
Pete?
Isn't history his story? According to flat Earth?
Well, look, I'm being glib here, Cliff, because I know I'm dealing with an actor, so you'll allow me some liberties, right? But
I was
there's a history. There's a history to the meter, and there's a history to the meter, and a history to the second.
Why are you just talking over everybody and insisting that you get to say all these things again?
Because I am what I am, right? So there's a
I
history
know,
to
but
these
you
things. I'm just
need it, like,
asking, what do you know? What do you know about them? What do you know about them, Cliff? Can you look up how the meter was originally?
You gotta limit how many question marks you put in a question,
That's
dude.
it. That's my only question. I'm done.
You asked like 40 questions, dude. You went on and on for like 30.
No, Cliff answered
years.
a certain way in regards to the cesium atom and the second, and I asked, was there anything preceding that in his knowledge?
Okay, now, didn't I just say a few minutes ago that there's certain things that I know and that I speak on, and the things that I don't know, I don't speak on? Like, let's go back to Jose's show. When y'all are talking about optics and how far away things are and the looming and all that, am I typically just on mute listening?
I don't know you at all, Cliff.
Most of you are there. Aren't I typically on mute when we're talking about
I don't know,
optics?
man. I don't pay
I don't
attention,
fucking
but
know
I don't
about it.
know you at all.
No, it's because you're too busy
well,
talking.
here we go. Schrodinger's, what do you know? What
Offer an opinion, then.
That you are the most, what is like your most expertise that applies to flat earth debunking? Your speciality, if you will.
Q and Schrodinger's have some sort of military connection going.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I don't think Q ever served. I think she's just asking me a question out of curiosity.
Okay.
So anything dealing with the sea and how that works, and anything revolving around that. I also know a good deal of physics and electronics because I have an electrical engineering degree, and I took a fair bit of physics, and I'm interested in physics, so I can speak a lot to that. When we get into optics, I'm a little shaky. I know a little bit, but when we're talking about looming and convergence and all that, that's more like Dean. That's his wheelhouse, not mine.
Okay, have you ever been in any underwater vessels?
No, and I'll say that outright. I've never been in a submarine. I have scuba dived. That's the farthest down I've ever been. If I'm underwater on my ship, that's a really bad thing.
Have you ever went down in anything?
Wait, I got another question. One more question, okay?
Shut up.
Yes, ma'am.
Estimate how many miles you think you've traveled the ocean in your lifetime.
That's
so
a
how
good
much
one.
of the earth do you think that you've covered in miles in your career?
I've been in the northern and southern hemisphere. Are we talking the entire length sailed? So if I was go around in a circle, are we counting all those circles?
How many unique miles have you covered in your lifetime? Is that better?
More than half of the earth. So I've been
nautical miles.
Yes,
So
nautical
what's a
miles.
unique mile? Is that a nautical or a standard?
Like you've the first time, not overlapping.
She's
Not overlapping.
not overlapping is what she's saying. So if we're in a night steam box, that doesn't count.
So when you're
So
ready,
how does he? How
I'd like
do
to
you
answer that
expect him?
question
How do you
regarding
expect him to
asked the
cancel out
question, and y'all just want
the
to
distance of
skip
the
over it.
mile over the mile that he traveled? And
Take a break, Pete.
Okay.
Can I answer the question?
I don't fucking even know what they asked, dude. It was like
Right.
two
They were
heads
just
talking.
I think they were just trying to stop me from answering
Mac.
your question.
Yeah, and then Max, if you're gonna ask it after he answers Q. But Pete, shut up. Take a break.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty good expertise or speciality is if you've actually covered half the Earth on the open sea.
I would
You've
say
seen a
more
lot
than half
of the Earth and how big it is.
The entirety of the Atlantic, the entirety of the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Oman, the Gulf of Aden, through
Do you have
the
direct experience with how long it takes at what speeds to travel the distance of these bodies of water?
Yes, we typically steam at about 13 nautical miles per hour because that's
So
the
you
most
know
efficient speed for
exactly
most
how
ships.
long it takes you to go and what directions you're going and everything directly. It's a direct experience you have. So the size of the Earth
Okay,
is
and Cliff, tell
You
us,
do have-
you're pretty
all your
confident
experiences,
in
did you experience flatness or
Jesus,
curvature,
Dodo.
Cliff, in all those experiences?
Curvature.
You've always experienced curvature. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
In
we
all
can
those
do-
distances and all that
Oh my
fast.
God. I was trying to elaborate on the question. So, like I said, we typically steam. Say we're crossing the Atlantic, we're going to steam at about 13 knots, which is 13 nautical miles per hour. Now, there's wind, there's currents, there's things like that that will either help us. We can have a following wind and following seas, or we can have an opposing wind and opposing seas. So that's going to make a difference. But typically, doing dead reckoning, we're making about 13 nautical miles overland on average. That's the end of my answer.
I sailed 24 hours on a ferry. Come on, we can all relate to this for basic terms.
You know,
Okay, Schrodinger's Dean had a question from the chat.
I
She
just want to
joined.
address that real fast. Sailing 24 hours on a ferry is a lot like 22 years at sea. I just want to throw that out there.
It was boring as fuck. There was nothing to do.
Hey, Dean. Channel
We were in
Q.
a flash in all directions.
Channel Q was gonna ask your question. You could have stayed in the chat, buddy.
Well,
I can go
when
back
you're
there
ready,
if you
let me
want.
just take before
No,
Dean
no,
just
go ahead and stay.
when
You're
you're
already
ready,
filling
Sean.
up
All
the
I wanted
space.
to say was, Sean, come on, man. All I wanted to say was,
What, Pete?
listen. All I wanted to say was,
I'm
all I wanted
listening.
to say was,
Uh-huh.
when you're ready,
Yeah.
when you're ready,
Yeah.
I have a question for Dean based on, or not Dean, Cliff, based on his
Uh-huh.
expertise.
Okay.
Cliff, Channel Q is
Oh.
just advertising.
Okay.
So when you're ready,
I'll let you know. Okay.
I'll go on mute.
All right. Cool.
Okay, so Schrodinger's Dean wanted to know if you had ever noticed different crescents in the moon as you had. The question got already. So, Dean, why don't you just ask it at this point?
Yeah, Cliff. I was just wondering, when you used to step out on deck and actually have a look at the moon, did you ever, actually notice the crescent of the moon rotating based on the further south you were going on a day-to-day basis, or is it something that you didn't actively notice?
It's not something that I actively even thought about. Here's what I did notice. When you're at sea at night, you see about, I'm going to say, between 5 and 10 times the number of stars that you would see on land because of just the light pollution that we have. And also the moon is much, much brighter. If I had thought about it, because I didn't even know about the whole flat earth thing until probably 4 years ago. So I had never really tried to make observations of the contours of the moon. It would be really interesting to go back and do that now. So if I ever do go back to sea in some capacity, I'm definitely going to look at that. And furthermore, I would say all my time at sea, I probably spent about 4 or 5 months south of the equator. But that would be interesting to look at. It's just one of those things that you didn't even think to look at. So sorry for the shit answer, but yeah, I didn't even think about it.
No, honestly, mate, until I built that flat Earth model and then compared it to a sphere Earth, I didn't think to look at it either.
Was it based on my suggestion?
Is
Was
these
it based on my suggestion?
are these questions for your stupid model?
Hang on, Sean.
Observational stuff.
Dean, can you answer this?
No, stop, Pete. Because it's been fucking weeks. Hang on, Pete. It's been weeks since you've been on my stream showing any of your fucking model.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Hang on, Sean.
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that, Sean.
He's clearly still under the weather.
Wait a minute, Sean. So yeah, actually, and I've broke a tooth as well, so I'm in pain. But Sean, as long as it's your show, can you tell me how I'm supposed to feel about that, and I'll just feel it for you. Is that all right?
Sorry.
All right. Listen. So let me continue. Hang on. Dean, was it based on my suggestion? Remember, I mentioned
believe you, Dean.
Argentina, the moon.
Dean, I don't believe you that you broke your tooth.
Can you let me get the sentence out? What's wrong with you?
Proof of this broken tooth.
Do you really? I can give you proof of it, actually, if you really want, but...
I do. I can't believe it.
Sounds awful.
Question, man. Was it based on my suggestion, looking at the moon from Argentina at the same time from Los Angeles or someplace, and what they would see at the same time? Is this how your new realization or thought process sort of came about?
Yeah, and since then it's expanded into another thing. So
Excellent.
based on the same, based on the same longitude, if you observe the moon at different latitudes, exactly the same time, you'll see a different rotation. There's no explanation for that on the flat Earth. But also, in the cycle of the moon, from moonrise to moonset, you will see a rotation of the moon. And again, that's not possible on a flat Earth. It's only
I knew that 5 years ago, guys.
Oh my God.
I knew that 5 years ago. Hang on, let me answer Dean, please. I knew that 5 years ago, and it's no thanks, Pete. Yeah, thanks for this new line of inquiry or new thought process.
It's all right. You what? Anything else you want to take credit for, Pete? While we're here, just
no problem. But what you can do now,
Dean, all of it. World peace.
Hang on, please. Sean, you know Dean's role here. What you can do now, Dean, is prove flat Earth to make yourself famous. Will I tell you how? Will I tell you how you can do that, Dean?
Go ahead, I'll make you famous.
Right, so this is my challenge to Dean. This is my challenge to Dean then. He can make himself famous. So we have a meridian system, a longitude system. The 0 degrees is the Greenwich meridian. So find two places equidistant from the equator, north and south, right? And have the view of the moon that they should see via whatever program you have, Stellarium or Time and Day, and look at the moon and try think of it and gauge it in two ways. If the Earth is contoured and the sky is fundamentally flat, or if the Earth is flat and the sky is fundamentally contoured of a certain direction, a certain dimension.
Let's go and ask that question back and forth for the rest of our lives, Dodo. Let's do that.
Right.
What are you diminishing that for? That's an excellent. Dean could make himself absolutely famous.
He can make himself wacky.
No, but what are the problems there, Pete? Is it doesn't matter whether it's a flat Earth, a concave Earth,
Prove to me you're not cat Earth.
anything Earth.
Cat Earth.
You don't actually get the rotation of the moon unless it's a sphere, which is
no, you don't. What that goes back to is the nature of the source itself. The singular source is rotating, or as Stark is rotating.
The only way to explain this.
Shout out to Carlos.
Prove to me you're not a cat Earther.
Yeah.
Hey,
I've
whenever you get a chance, Dean, I gotta ask you something.
Yeah, I've got a question for Dean also.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay.
When I can. Yeah.
Dean, man of the moment.
Dean, I had a question for Dean.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I am actually up on pain meds at the moment because of this.
Well, you asked me a question, so I want to ask you one.
Dean,
I'm tripping. Wait a minute. I'm tripping balls right now.
Dean. Hey, Dean. This is a one-on-one. What are you talking about? There's no one even in here.
No, I actually the thought fucking crossed my mind about 10 seconds ago. Actually,
we're all figments of your imagination.
Dean, talk to me. There's no one here, Dean. What is wrong with you?
It's only fair, Dean. You asked me a question.
Oh yeah, go for it, Cliff.
All right. It's a two-parter. First, do you have anybody?
Ask him a question.
Do you have anybody in the States helping you with your model?
I do not know.
Okay, because it's weird. Because I was going.
Who are you talking to?
I was walking up to the convenience store this morning, and there was this dude lying on the sidewalk. And when yeah, when I started walking up, he was like, "Hey, sir," and I was like, I started saying, "No," I said, "No, sir, I don't have any change. I'm sorry." And he said, "No, I don't want change. I just want to know, can you help me with my flat Earth model?"
That story sounds made up. Now, Dean,
Okay, that's
how did you break your tooth?
hang on. Oh my gosh. Hey, Dean, how about you butcher the macro block information that I was giving?
Who the fuck are you talking to?
I'm worried for you, Sean, because at the moment I'm not actually talking 24 days. You're
I
hearing
know,
my
but-
voice constantly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, I'm not.
Sean, you're imagining us.
Hey!
I'm tripping balls.
I think we all are.
No one's here.
Quick.
Mm.
Hey!
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm trying to do a Hawkins. Hey!
That's going to be my new ringtone.
That's cruel.
What the heck is going on?
Hang on, let's get back on track. You see what Dean's presuppositions of a globe Earth will back off is into nowhere. Whereas if we consider a flat Earth and two people looking from these separate positions on the same meridian, looking at the same reflection against a contoured barrier, this will tell us a whole hell of a lot. Absolutely.
Except a reflection, Pete. There is no way in an angle of incidence, you should know this, that a reflection would rotate.
The source is rotating. All of the
So there
sky
you go.
rotates in unison. I knew about the rotation of the moon. Are you just finding out about the
this is a singular object, Pete, and it rotates.
So imagine you had some. You think you're just finding out about this now, right? I found out about this 5 years ago.
Then why the hell are you still a flat earther? That's what I want to know. That's the more
Because
important
there's
question.
something at the center that's doing the emanating that is rotating, and everything is rotating because that is rotating.
What the fuck?
Yes, but on
Okay, maybe I'm too high. I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I'm not high enough.
You sound like you said the three same sentences.
So get a Batman
times.
pen, Sean. So imagine this: get a Batman pen, get a sort of a snow globe.
Did you say a Batman pen?
Yeah, some sort of a pen that there's a design in it, so you can see an orientation, a smiley face sort of pen that will emanate some sort of light. Will give a face, and if you turn that pen against the mirror, you'll see the face rotating.
What the hell is happening?
Who's he talking to now?
I don't know.
A Batman pen. I was thinking I was going to take I was thinking of a Batman light.
A Batman pen.
That you could reduce down in scale. So a Batman light
use the Bat pen.
down in scale. It's a thought experiment, right? A thought experiment. So it's sort of an emanating light with a pattern on it. The way you'll know if it rotates or not.
Pete, what are you talking about?
It's
I'm
pretty
too sober
simple,
for this
really.
shit.
Actually, it's just a matter of having a pattern, a torch against the wall, and have a little smiley face drawn into the face of it. Now, as you rotate that torch, the whole face on the reflection will rotate. This is what's happening. The source of all of these reflections, the singular source, our star, is actually rotating at the north center.
It's the projection.
And there's three rotations associated with it. This is where the big G comes into effect as well. There's three movements needed to make big G. And 3 is the magic number.
Three
is the magic number.
So we can imagine one movement in a straight line. We can imagine one movement in a circular motion. Now imagine a circular motion, up and down motion, right? And a straight line motion. Right? Think about a whirlpool and a cork in a whirlpool. The three motions it will experience. You'll have the horizontal motion towards the center, right? You'll have the motion up and down, right, as the whirlpool drains or whatever. And then you will have the final motion then.
Hey Pete. Can you do me a favor, Pete?
Is he quoting lines from
I don't know.
Billy Madison?
Pete, can you do me?
I mean Happy
Sometimes.
Gilmore. It goes
just,
up and
Pete,
around, up and down.
Pete,
No, Pink Floyd.
You gotta just mute yourself for a minute, man. Just take a minute.
Aw, look, Jim came by to tell us how much he loves us.
Just hang on, guys, hang on. Just a minute, Pete. Okay. Hey, what's up, Free? How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
Hey, dude.
Sorry, I muted you. I heard a lot of noise and I didn't know if you were there.
Hey, this is by far the most entertainment and fun Flat Earth channel I've been a part of. You guys are just cracking me up, man. I love it.
We're just tripping balls.
I love it. You know, it's cool, man. So we've got a mix, haven't we? We've got a mix of flat earthers and ball earthers, and
It's kind of.
Well,
we don't consider Pete a flat earther really because he's already figured it out, I guess, but he's just fucking with us.
Pete Shea. I've spoke to Pete Shea before. He's
flat earther. He's actually making.
Because it's a frisbee now.
Is that Rezo? Is that Rezo?
I'm joking. That was a
it's
joke.
Ross. It's Ross. How you doing, Pete?
How you doing, man?
Whenever you are. Yeah, whenever you are.
Hey.
So
Look at Dean's the biggest flat earther on this panel.
yeah, he's convinced he's gonna figure it out.
I think I could be an awesome flat earther.
You know, I thought I was going to figure it out. You know, I spent 2 years, man, and I've still got no concrete evidence. There's always something that comes up, man, that disproves and says, "Oh no, it's."
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, man.
I'm not a flat earther. Can I just say, I'm not a flat earther anymore. I would say the Earth is flat in the same way that a tree stump, that the tree has just recently been felled.
Decapitated tree.
Only one aspect could be described as flat, right? So the Earth is flat in that sense, but in a greater sense, you can't use them.
Pete, did you just leave flat Earth on my panel?
Not really.
No, I've been in the same place all along, Sean. I guess.
He's on top of that decapitated tree.
The water's flat. The question I wanted to pose to
Water's
Cliff,
not flat. Randy said there's 4-foot waves that cause obstruction.
Water, when it's not acted by any force, forms a sphere
Oh shit.
in its natural form.
Well,
Earth isn't
can you give me an example of that?
It
A
finds
rocket.
its level.
Zero G plane. You could have water with no force acting on it, and it'll show as one drop of
That's a
water will be a
rocket.
bubble.
Yes, but these are different. On nature.
That was a rocket, Carlos.
Is he driving?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Oh.
So if you get a bucket of sand, and have it alongside the water in a zero G plane, that will formulate into a sphere as well.
A grain of sand.
A bucket of sand.
No, he said a bucket.
A bucket of
A whole
sand.
bucket,
Well,
yeah.
no, because it's all individual pieces. One drop of water will form a sphere, and a bucket of grain will just flop about. It'll look fluid-like. It'll definitely look like
A
fluid.
bucket
so
of
we live on
sand
Earth.
doesn't have surface tension.
So we live
Whereas
on Earth,
water
which
does.
is not just water, right? We live on Earth. It's not just water.
No, it's not.
Well, clearly.
There's a whole periodic table of chemicals that make up
Elements.
this world.
But
Elements. That's the right word. That's what happens when you take drugs, children. You forget what.
That's because you're new here, Freeman. Like any
Don't
situation.
do drugs, McCain.
Like any situation,
No,
if there's new,
okay, drugs are bad.
like any situation, if there's someone new in the building, I mean, it takes a while to get to know somebody. But you did look into flat Earth seriously, and what were the most compelling arguments? First of all, and what were the most, I guess,
For me,
about flat Earth. If you're not
argument.
flat earther, Pete.
For me, the most compelling argument that kept me researching it was nothing to do with water. That can be explained to me pretty easy. For me, it was the curve. I couldn't see a curve, but then I realized that you have to be at a certain height, and the Earth is absolutely fucking huge. Like, for example, if you had an apple, right, the ISS would not even be touching the skin of the apple. That's how close it is to it.
Sure,
You
bud.
know.
But when you came to looking into flat Earth seriously, you know there's many more serious arguments than that. What was the most convincing one, and what was the most destructive one?
Well, the most destructive one was being able to look at it from an outside perspective and see it for what it is. It's a psyop.
Outside yourself, right?
I taught myself everything I know. I left home at 15 when I thought my mum was going to die. So I've educated myself my whole life.
You
mate.
say an outside perspective, so you looked outside yourself, and
I looked outside myself. I removed myself from my own opinions from the situation, my own thoughts, and I looked at it objectively, right? and I saw
Okay.
it for what it was, where it came from, and what it's doing, and you know, when you look at it like that, it's obvious to me it's a psyop. It's concocted. It's just another thing.
Where did it come from, and what is it doing? You saw
That's an answer that I can't. I can't give you that
You said
answer.
you saw it. You saw all those things. So I'm asking you, what
Well,
is it?
it's an observation. It's you've got to see it for yourself. Like, you know, when if you tell someone not to do something, it'll go in one ear and out the other. But you've got to learn yourself. You can, when you see the world for what it is and what's going off in the world, it's fucking chaos. And it's just, and that's exactly what the flat Earth movement. Well, the people in the flat Earth movement are very intelligent, smart individuals, man. I don't knock them at all.
Well,
you know?
some of them are.
Well, a good majority of them are. A good majority. The ones that I've spoken to seem to be very intelligent. You know, they're curious. And
Are you a smart and intelligent individual? Would you call yourself?
I'm no smarter than anyone else. I'm equal. We're all equal. We're all.
Are you smarter than the average flat Earth, smart and intelligent individual, as you just described?
This is irrelevant.
I'd say I'm more aware.
Okay, that's what I asked you. What did you see, and how did it convince you? You know, that's all I'm asking for a testimony.
Well, it come from my heart. It's like a sense of knowing. I could see it for what it was.
You know that people in Australia right now are upside down. This is what your heart tells you when you stepped outside yourself.
Upside down, it's relative. Then you're saying that's relative, right? Yeah. The Earth is not stationary upwards. It's not upwards in space. It's relative to center of mass. Because
how do you know?
How do I know what?
How do you know these things?
Well, through research, education, Pete.
So you left school at 15, and you decided to take an active interest in these things at a later stage. Right?
I've always been curious about my reality.
I hate to interrupt, but check out this subway over here in my town.
Nice, man.
No,
it's like a 100-year-old house.
You can get yourself a 6 foot.
Dude, are you going ghost hunting?
Yeah, they get up early to hunt the meat. If you wanted a chicken in the backyard chasing the chicken. Sorry, carry on. Up you go.
That's all right.
No, I was interested. That was nice. Yeah, man. I love America, man. I love seeing old buildings being turned into weird fast food restaurants.
Well, this is the good old South part of America.
Did you believe, Freeman, the usual question I asked, did you believe when you became a flat earther that the moon landings were fraudulent?
I've still got a lot to think about that. I'm curious whether they even went. Yeah, I'm still curious because I know Stanley Kubrick did actually. Well, this is what I'm thinking because I've actually, you know, Collins, you know, the third astronaut, Collins.
Right.
Michael Collins, the one.
If you keep saying the moon landing is fake, Jem is going to come in here and school the shit out of you.
Is she a flat earther?
Yeah, Jem's not a girl.
No.
Sorry. We're just trying to find out someone's opinion on it, starting point. So off you go.
Michael Collins is the one they always forget about. He's the Apollo 11 member that nobody remembers because he never went down to the moon.
Yeah, he went around the dark side of the moon and went to catch them again. His story hasn't changed, and he says it with conviction. Do you know what I mean? And to me, what he's saying is genuine. And go and look it for yourself. Research him.
Oh my gosh!
And what is his story exactly?
Well, there's a documentary, an Australian documentary about him, about his what he saw, his life, his accomplishments, and how he felt about the whole situation. Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it for you. Go and give it a watch. I'll see if I can find a link.
So what has changed as far as that story from the other Saturn? So I mean, you're implying that story changed.
Well, what I'm saying is that they acted strangely. Like, come on, you flat earthers must know.
You're talking about the first press conference after they came back?
Yeah, that was really, really curious.
Let me point some facts before we move on from that. All right, the astronauts, these are test pilots. Why do they choose test pilots? Because they're not going to freak out. They're not normal people who are going to freak out in an emergency. I want to try to troubleshoot. They found guys to keep their cool. All right, so this is going to be very, very, very different people. Now, when they came back, they didn't know there was bacteria or any other stuff in the moon, so they were quarantined for a long time. They were doing
does make sense.
Hang on, they were giving all kind of reports, all kind of medical stuff. And after all that, then they released them to the family. All right, so these guys are exhausted. It's been a long time. They have told the story, all the details, all this, technical stuff for days, over and over and over. And then they went out to the public to be interviewed by just average Joe. How do you think they're going to act?
Yeah, man.
I mean, you guys are expecting them to act like somebody from a football team that just won a game and they came out to the locker like, oh yeah, we went to the moon and man, it was cool. No, these are people who have been in quarantine for I don't know how many days.
Isolated.
21.
Yeah,
Three weeks they were locked away.
They also later in life suffered illnesses due to the radiation that they caused from traveling through the Van Allen radiation belts.
Yep.
Which
quite a few of them have died of radiation-induced cancers, haven't they?
Yeah.
But they knew the risks. You know, if you were in their position, you know, you'd been a combat pilot, a test pilot, you'd been chosen to be an astronaut, you'd probably gone up on one of the Gemini missions, and they said, look, do you want to go to the moon? It's a bit risky. What do you say? You say, fuck me, yes, please.
Yes, please, yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
Of course you do.
I'd die on the moon.
Can I say something from a
Yeah,
woman's point of view?
am I the only non-pussy here?
Go for it, Q.
Ffeynmän, you just said you had
I need
problems.
to say something from the woman's point of view. If a guy comes up to me and asks me that question, I'm definitely saying no.
What?
Of course.
If I want to go to the moon, it's a bit risky.
Why? Because he's a white boy. Get out of here.
Because it's probably a metaphor for something that I don't want to do.
Oh, please.
Well, that's totally cool. Your individuality, if you don't want to go to the moon, that's fine.
Hang on one second, guys.
Joke, but you guys got all feminist on me.
Hang on.
Sorry?
1 sec. Wait,
No one's getting feminist at all.
Hang on 1 sec, guys. 1 sec.
It was also a joke, feminist.
How you doing, Jim?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm very good, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
I just wanted to ask.
The camera's on.
Is that
I
Jeremy?
just wanted to ask Channel Q if she liked water sports.
Oh.
Water sports.
Oh dear.
It's just something else that could have a double meaning.
Hey up, Jeremy.
Hello, mate.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, thank you.
You still
I
getting your
think you're not far away from me. Is it Ross?
Yes, that's me, mate.
We've met. Have we met before?
We were gonna meet. Yeah, we were gonna meet. We were talking about your business venture. How's that took off, by the way?
All right.
Not so good then.
Anyway, let's not do that here.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, let's not.
I thought we'd met before.
Jeremy, and to save
We
the day
might have
regarding Freeman's vague stance on the moon landings, whether they were real or not.
Well, you know my stance, I think, Pete.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely real.
What's
They're
Freeman's
absolutely real.
stance is the question. He sort of slivered and slided.
Well, I think it really did happen because it points in the right direction. But I'll never know because I weren't there, mate. So I can't be so definite and convicted in my own. Do you know what I mean? I'm a very skeptical person, mate. So to get a definite answer out of me,
maybe you should grab off Jeremy a bit more. He's more.
I say they happen because I have researched it quite a lot. And I think the most compelling evidence, and that most people don't know about, is that it was seen from Earth. You know, all of the space operations, people saw through telescopes. So, you know, we saw this spacecraft get launched and go all the way to the moon, and then we saw it come all the way back. So,
and
it seems to me
the foreign space.
Go ahead, Charlie.
The foreign space agencies corroborated it, even our enemies.
Show us a video of that, Jeremy. There, where people captured that.
Well, there is video of it. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of accounts of people who amateur and professional astronomers who saw the spacecraft in transit. So
all the way to the moon, though, you say.
You know, and plane loads full of passengers who saw the re-entries. So.
Yeah, but that's only a certain distance away, right? That's all you can vouch for, maybe. But beyond that, 250,000 miles. How far is it?
Like I say, they were observed. They were observed all the way to the moon, and all the way back again.
Well, I mean, you're all a big bunch of believers, anyway. So,
not in one single observation, admittedly, by multiple people, obviously at multiple times, at multiple locations. But this happened. This happened hundreds and hundreds of times over all the missions, and I just don't see how that's possible unless at least a spacecraft of the size and configuration that's advertised was sent to the moon. I would present different evidence to say there were people on it, but
Jeremy,
but those things were sent to the moon. It's
Jeremy, can I quickly mention this before I forget, Jeremy? There's a games company or some animators that have accurately redesigned the moon landing and collaborated with these photos that they had,
right,
and pointed out the one of the anomalies was actually the other astronaut, because they were saying
reflecting the light,
reflecting the light, and he showed the animation how, So Pete,
excellent.
So
Excellent. I
Pete,
want to ask Jeremy. Hang on a second. I want to ask Jeremy a question because I haven't spoken to him in ages. First of all, did you ever come across a conversation between Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin as they were orbiting the moon regarding Aristarchus in all your vast research? Hang on, Bud. This is a genuine
I haven't
question.
come across that. I haven't come across that. They may have mentioned it as.
No, they had a very intricate conversation about it, actually, Jeremy. Now, the second thing is you can't land on.
Remember, hold on a minute. Hold on, just before we go any further. Remember, the Apollo 11 mission lasted a week, and obviously 3 astronauts were talking to each other all the time for a week. So I haven't got it all memorized, obviously.
That's fair enough.
But go ahead.
They had a very interesting conversation about it, and of course, any of us on the skeptical side know that's all a load of nonsense. You can't land on a reflection. The moon is a reflection of solidity.
No, it's a solid
reason they
ball.
incorporated
You mean the waters above and the waters
the reason they
below?
incorporated into the script was because it has of due significance when the time arrives.
You should do a song about that, Q.
Let's not forget the rovers that are on the moon right now that are visiting
link,
the
actually,
landing
Jeremy.
sites.
I'll post you a link. To,
let's not even mention the retro reflectors.
Reflectors, yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's a man-made product that's been put up there.
Oh, well,
you all know, don't you? You're all in on the secret, whatever that is. I think it's about the reintegration of the bubble.
There may be an ultimate secret to life. Who knows? Like, we'll never
42.
know. The answer to everything and all life.
42.
42.
40. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything.
42 is 24. Hang on. 42 is 24 backwards. 24 is 8,
really?
8, 8.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's half of 84. Have you thought about that?
If we turn 42 backwards, it's not technically 24 because the 4 and the 2 are backwards, and those aren't even numbers.
No,
exactly. It's a hieroglyph.
What's a backwards 4? What's a backwards 4? Is a backwards 4 still a 4, or is it a backwards 4?
Exactly, it's Jesus.
When you
Jesus is the answer to everything.
You're not turning it backwards. You're reordering the numbers.
Yeah.
No. Everything works.
So everything about what you think about flipping numbers backwards and making meanings out of them is all fucking wrong because you're not making them go backwards. You're just reordering them.
Is there anything that you
one
can't?
number into a different number? It's not backwards.
You can prove anything with numerology if you try hard enough.
But this isn't numerology.
It's like maths. You can do You can do the same with math. It's universal, isn't it?
It's about everything's about the context. Bifurcation.
Math to prove that 2 + 2 equals.
Math's a universal language. Anybody.
Oh, okay. I interpreted it wrong. My bad.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah, I thought you said it differently. I thought you said it like as if Pete would have said it at first. So I had to make sure you had to clarify that one for me. But
I am an idiot, so I don't explain
nothing like Pete.
Yeah.
No, but like I said, because when it comes down to the moon landing, for me, like I'm a lot closer to understanding it, a lot closer, especially thanks to you, Jim, because you have a fucking great uploads that kind of really explain how it needs to be explained. A lot of things do kind of don't make sense to me. Again, it's the same thing that's been for a while. It's more of the return trip. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Watch that documentary. Watch that documentary talking about Michael Collins because he explains it all from his own mouth.
Well, I just don't understand. Like, I get how they got there, the slingshots, the everything, the slowing down, even, and to get into the moon's gravitational pull.
It was so precise.
But getting back with the same amount of time is what confuses me, because I don't understand how you would gain the same amount of speed. Or
well, it was
didn't
timed.
run on
It
the
was
bar.
timed when he swung round. They had a specific time, and they had to time the thrusters because they only had 3 seconds of thruster power, I believe, to get them off the moon. So they needed to time it perfect with maths and studying the stars and orbiting and all this was to thank for getting them hooked up to whatever it was called, spinning back round from the dark side.
Reconnection between the rocket, the orbiting rocket. Can you tell us the speed of the orbiting rocket, Feynman?
I can't tell you precisely.
That the lunar module was capable of achieving upon trajectory into the darkness of black space, of course, because it has to encounter the orbiting rocket, in due time. I'm going to guess your answer is no.
Well, you spoke really fast, and I'm trying.
Well, what would it mean to you if we could give you the speed off the top of our head, Pete? I don't get it.
Just think about it.
We don't actually work for that.
I mean, what you're saying is, what you're basically saying is, you don't need the speed. You're just being incredulous that can happen.
No,
but of course, this was an incredible event. It was an incredible event. So you should feel incredulous. You should feel incredulous about aspects of it, but that doesn't mean that they're impossible.
Okay, but you're a well-researched man. That's what I'm
Doesn't
asking
it
you.
make more sense that instead of like having these astronauts survive this, if there was all this unlikelihood that they would survive, that they would just send them up there and say that they didn't make it back? Because then it would be a trauma, which would be better. And they would eliminate 3 people who could exclusively tell the world that it was faked.
Yeah, they would have to
and not have
them cancer.
And why wouldn't you want that to be the alternative of fakery rather than have 3 people who could always turn you in alive?
You can craft a movie script any way you like, man. And you can get, like 9/11, you can get thousands of people.
Did you just call your moon? Wait, did you just call your moon landing conspiracy a fucking movie script, Pete? Because I think you just did.
Of course it is, yeah.
So you don't think that they didn't land on the moon? You think they did land on the moon, and you think the conspiracy theory is a movie?
There was a movie made, though. There's a documentary about this. But that's not to negate the fact that they landed on the moon.
But why leave them alive, Pete?
Because there's no drama or adventure to begin with. It's all scripted. So the script is written for certain purposes. Now, why
not kill these astronauts? Why leave them alive? They're the only ones who could vouch for the realism of it.
Vouch to who? Like Bart Sabral?
No, Armstrong.
Right, but I mean, vouch to who? Do you think all of Carlos get the explanation for their poor performance in the press conference? You think that wasn't all scripted as well? Of course it was.
For how many years, Pete? For how many years?
Well, cheer up.
I just think that if you wanted to send people to the moon, you would also kill the people you pretended to send.
I just can't wait until there's commercial flights to go to the orbit of the Earth, so people can start.
I don't believe that'll ever
get GoPro in it.
They were in it in the first place, and
Stephen Fry.
John Lear always played the role of Neil Armstrong. So there's a different thing going on. I just wanted to go back to Jeremy and why he said, is it so unbelievable? Something unbelievable happens, so we have to be capable of believing anything. You're a man who's well researched in this. So we imagine the orbiting rocket. You can tell me the speed that it was orbiting at, with your man Collins, that your friend Feynman brought up. It was orbiting alone with
top of my head.
We can also just imagine the lunar module, when it's time for reconnecting, starting from a 0 point to reach a certain speed to coincide with an orbiting rocket. You would have to aim at the emptiness of space without any equipment with a 3-second.
You can't just point your finger. Huh?
Hold on, it's not without any equipment, right? They've got 2 radars on the lunar module, so it's not without any equipment. They've got they've got a computer which controls the burn of the ascent. And, people on Earth have figured out how long it needs to burn for to get them in the right place. So it's not that they're all just making it up as they go along, as you're pretending. And I wonder why you feel it necessary to do that.
It's called projection.
Just call me skeptical.
I've just found the table that lists. I've just found the table that lists all the burn times of the command service module.
Pete, the
Now-
thing is, like, you've got to see it for yourself to believe it. Like we're no matter what we say, you're not gonna believe us.
No.
But if you just look at it unbiasedly, try and look at it from a different point of view, and don't let your own thoughts get impede.
You're already putting you in the same category as us. Is that the rest of the panel here, or
No, I'm just talking to you. I'm just no. I'm not. I'm just talking to you. Like you.
Think I haven't looked into all of this, man? What makes you think I haven't
I'll
looked
see
into
if
all
I
of
can
this?
find it for you though, Pete. Just so the matter is settled.
It's okay, man. It's an interesting question, isn't it?
You're
And
a
of course, I
smart
know
man.
it'll never be settled. This metaphor.
It's settled with me.
Let me post a link here. What I was talking about. Let me post a link. I was talking about Jeremy. You'll read the transcript yourself. Forget about the nature of the site itself. It's called Illuminati Blogspot. Let's just deal with the information.
But that's not
I
bad.
know. But sure, everything is a conspiracy these days, Q. But let's just deal with the information, which is not.
I found the complete transcript of the Apollo 11 mission.
Wait. So, sorry. So did someone say?
Yeah, I'm on that at the moment.
Yeah, here it is. If you scroll down midway, you'll see it here. The interesting conversation brought Aldrin.
What time code you got for that?
Yeah, just scroll down. You'll find it, man. There's a link in the chat. It's in white and highlighted in white.
Somebody read it to me.
What are we looking at now?
I have no
It's
idea.
just interesting because, like, from my point of view, this is all scripted. So mankind, the reason this was included is specific. That's the only reason I asked Jeremy.
Crater has long been a much debated enigma on the moon. Yet, whenever you see pictures and try to get close in for details, the area is a total whiteout with no details. It is supposedly because of its brightness. We will discuss the rumors and stories of the, how do you say that, Aristarchus further down.
Hang on, scroll down to Aristarchus crater. Apollo. Don't be reading all that. That's a different story altogether. You haven't a clue what you're doing there.
So is it that picture, that colourful?
Aristarchus. Let me share my screen, bud. Let me share my screen. I'll do it since I brought it up.
Aristarchus crater, Apollo 11 transcript from mission log.
Yeah,
and that is not a transcript. That's not a transcript from the mission log.
Guys.
It is. They do talk about it for a bit because they reckon there've been some activity around it. You know, maybe something crashing into it or something. You know, want to get photos of.
Yeah, I can't. My computer is crashing here somewhere.
So the people on the way to the moon talked about a surface feature of the moon.
Oh shit!
What does that mean?
Yeah, yeah, funny that, eh?
I bet you, Schrodinger's the whole time you were at the ocean, you never talked about the ocean.
Yeah, people who were sent to study the moon reported on their observations of the moon.
Right. We also note that Aristarchus is described as the most mysterious crater on the most mysterious object in our universe. In some sources, that is
only by you.
It's
just a crater.
Imagine if we had Twitter back then.
We haven't explored it.
Don't worry about that.
There's a colourful spot
You know what
on the moon.
mysterious is, Pete? It's a matter of perception, dude.
Yeah.
I know that,
It's not
but
real.
you know, I'm hoping
Mysterious isn't real. Nothing in the universe is mysterious. You just don't know.
Hey! There we go.
What the hell, Sean?
No, that's me. That's me. No, Sean.
It's just a link I came by, right? But
I think there are some mysteries to life.
That's a mystery. Look at this here. Look at this here, man.
Just not flat.
Look at this
Earth.
picture here. You tell me that's not mysterious. What's going on? Now I know what's fucking going on here, but you don't. You see.
That looks. The thing
like
is,
crater.
If I said to you,
crater.
That looks like light reflecting in a circular crater, which has depth.
Sure. That's so. Do away with your preconceived ideas and notion. This is called crater Herodotus, neighboring crater to crater Aristarchus. Right? Yeah, I was going to call it Eratosthenes. Aristarchus. Imagine Aristarchus as a bicycle.
All right. So what do you think that is, Pete? Because I really don't know what it is. If I'm honest, I don't know what it looks like.
Second, but imagine Aristarchus as a bicycle wheel with all its components. You have the hub, the spokes, the frame itself, and the tire, tube, etc. Herodotus next door as just being the tire, for instance. This is what we're dealing with. That's beyond what because you haven't considered it before. Aristarchus is all a reflection.
Why?
So what's it reflecting? What's it reflecting? What's it reflecting on?
Aristarchus. That's all there is here.
Could it be?
Doesn't look anything like an Aristarchus.
Could it be quartz crystal in the rock formation?
It's a crystalline tree. Aristarchus is a decapitated tree of life, all crystalline. We retain, in terms of our pineal gland, that spark. It's up to you to activate it and realize.
Oh my God! If I ever go to the moon, I'm gonna take the valve stem out of the tire.
The pineal gland over the past few decades, centuries, has been calcified.
Yeah, it has to be calcified. It has to be solidifying.
It's been calcified. They've studied, they've done autopsies and seen that it almost turns to, it looks like it's turned to stone, but it's not. It doesn't turn to stone.
Turn to stone. You're gonna turn to stone.
This is the pit as well.
Nor do I think it's
looking into the eternal pit. This is what they mean. It's in terms of reflection. Think in terms of a parallel mirror.
Oh my God! Look at that shiny shit on the moon.
My shiny shit.
But they had a chat here.
They left their shit on the moon.
Can I just say 3,665 miles per hour, Pete?
Nice one. So the lunar module had to go from 0 to that speed and coordinate exactly to make that reconnection to bring them back to Earth.
Yeah. You think that's difficult?
How did they get from 3,600 miles an hour back to the Earth in the same amount of time that it took them to get there? Sean, over to you.
They fired a rocket engine.
Mission time, 135 hours, 24 minutes, 33.8 seconds. They burnt the service module engine for 2 minutes, 29.4 seconds. That was the trans-Earth injection burn.
There you go.
It's almost like there was this force pulling them also.
So what about
that as well?
Boyle's and Charles' law being absolutely violated, all laws of physics. So when you have a pressurized system against a pressurized system, one will
Excuse me?
Pete, do you know what Boyle's and Charles' law are, or you're just saying words?
I do.
Nice salad.
Let me just say this is a transcript, Jeremy. You have it there, and if it's not valid, I took it to be valid, but of course I know it's not valid in the first place.
That's not the transcript.
Stop moving. I'm reading it.
Speaker.
Yeah. So clues first, and if it isn't the transcript, someone has made it up there, and I don't hang my hat or my coat on that particular.
Do you want to see what the transcript actually looks like?
Well, it comes from a site called nexusilluminati.blogspot.
Yeah, I mean,
not very creditable.
Okay. This is from www.hq.nasa.gov, and this is a transcript.
Yeah.
You see the timestamps? It tells you what transmission station, what receiving station is picking it up, what tape it's on. That is an official transcript of the Apollo 11 mission. And it goes on and fucking on. Every single transmission.
I've got it.
Can I just say this? Let me
yes,
just say
of course.
This.
And I want to ask Pete, can you tell me what Boyle's and Charles' law refer to?
Okay, hang on a second. Let me just say this. And I get this up.
Can't.
Let me just say this. Excellent. Every fucking conversation, no matter how worthless it might seem, will always lead to clues. Look at him after reading. Look what I'm after reading below that. This page.
You saying this conversation was worthless?
You determine what I'm saying.
No conversation is worthless.
This page is a copy of the mission debriefing. Can you see my screen log? After they came back to Earth, John Lear has a copy of this in his collection. John Lear, as I said earlier on, heavily suggested to play the role of Neil Armstrong. So this connection is being made. There's all little connection first like this that helps us piece the pieces together.
There's only 10 people in the world, and they just keep switching roles.
That's fine. I know it's all. Aristarchus is the answer, Q.
Now can you tell me about Boyle's and Charles' law?
Now back to Charles' law and Boyle's law. Right. You understand that there's an intimate relationship between pressure, temperature, and volume, right, Cliff?
Yes. Can you tell me
So
what
when
those
we're in
laws?
space, Cliff, right, and we're dealing with rockets propelling against a non-medium, where is the pressure differential?
Because they're using solid fuel rockets, not jet engines.
Right. So I guess Jeremy could have said that as well. This is just more part of our imagination.
Yeah, but
right?
did you know that though? Did you know that? Did you research that though, Pete? Like independently look at the other side of the argument?
Yes, I absolutely did, man. About back in September, over cluesforums.info. All this was went into in great absolute detail.
No, what about you? I'm on about you. Have you looked at? Have you looked at like the official story, and then gone back?
Yes,
into
I have. Yes, I have.
What?
And you know Gus Grissom, and he hung the lemon on. That's more fakery nonsense as well. Him being burnt alive. There's no one burnt alive. This is all part of the conspiracy sort of avenue that they'll have you down to divert you
What are
from.
you? Sorry, are you talking about when the I think what Apollo 13 was it?
Yeah, because Gus Grissom, when you get down the conspiracy avenue, you're going to be going, "Hey, Gus is a hero. They murdered him for trying to get out the truth by hanging the lemon on the lunar rocket or whatever." You know, and then conspiracy stories attached to his strange and untimely death.
A lot of those families did have twin sisters. Sorry?
It's all nonsense, though. How you discern fact from fiction? And as I said, back then I wasn't thinking this, but you're led down a pathway. Now I know it's all fucking nonsense, but it is all valuable in terms of, clues towards the greater script. As
Well,
I said,
just so that I get a greater bit of confidence in what you know, what is the relationship between temperature and pressure? What happens to pressure as temperature increases?
P1T1 is equal to P2T2.
Can you answer my question?
Yeah, I just did. I gave you the equation. No more.
Can you give it to me in layman's terms? I don't know your variables. Can you give it to me in layman's terms?
So do you not understand my question in terms of the equation I just gave you?
Do you not understand my question? What is the relationship?
You're dealing with some bum boy who's mopping up the floors in the basement of the ship somewhere, Cliff.
I'm asking you, what is the relationship
But I
between
answered you.
temperature
Now
and
go
pressure?
look up my answer, and you'll see that my answer is correct.
I don't have to look up the answer. I'm wanting to know if you know the answer. When temperature increases, what does pressure do?
Give me the answer.
All right, never mind. He doesn't know.
Pete does have some physics education, actually, way back when he does.
Well, then he should be able to answer that simple question.
Did anyone here understand the answer I gave was correct? Cliff didn't, apparently. He does everything by the book.
Which book?
I don't understand.
No,
I think you're being
understood the equation he
deliberately,
gave, but he doesn't.
deliberately cryptic, Pete.
Right.
And I think you could, if you wanted,
gave you the
you
textbook,
could give if you wanted to, you could give a full answer that demonstrates that you do understand. Why are you talking over me?
Sean,
Why are
why are
you
you presenting
talking?
farmers?
Say again?
You're presenting farmers.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
because he was
Turn me
showing
off.
the transcript brother. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, the link's in the side there, so.
Yeah, I think you could give a better answer if you want to.
It's all transparent, isn't it?
Dodo, let Jim say what he was saying because you were talking.
Yeah, okay, after you.
I said I think you could give a better answer if you wanted to.
My answer was sufficient, though. P1T1 is equal to
That
P2.
doesn't mean anything, Pete. That
does.
actually
It is temperature.
What increases?
Pete, Pete, I don't understand what that means. Can you explain to me, please? Because I don't.
Okay. We have three variables. Pressure is P, denoted by P. Temperature is denoted by T. And volume is denoted by V. We have an intimate relationship between these three variables, if you want to put it like that. Boyle's and Charles' law deal with the variation between these two. Pressure, temperature. When you increase the pressure, you increase the temperature, right? This is where I gave this simple answer. P1T1 is equal to P2T2. And I'm going from fucking memory as well, 20 years ago, for fuck's sake.
Thank you, Pete. But that's what they meant by, can you say it a little bit, explain it instead of just saying
right.
those.
That is the universal answer, so I gave
and it was longer than 20 years ago. Come on.
Yeah, it was just the way you explained it. If you explained it, and when you explain it like that, then everyone sees you also actually know what you're talking about, so it doesn't.
Yeah, well done, Pete.
It's okay. It's okay. Where's Maxwell gone from earlier on? He was a nice guy, I think, Sean. He was a ball earther. I don't think Cliff realized he was a ball. He was on your side, Cliff. Maxwell was.
No, that was with me too. But it was just the way he got snippy. I don't know why.
Is he a potato?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue.
There's a lot of bullshit that goes on. That's what he was calling it out as well. You know, not everybody knows everything, and maybe he's an honest bowler.
No one knows everything.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. No one has claimed to know anyone, Pete. And I was serious. If you could name out one person on this panel that claims to know everything, I'll boot him off my panel right now. But
Yeah, was I supposed to just let him off the hook for being wrong just because he was a baller?
No,
that was
absolutely
the
not.
question.
You should be calling him
No,
out
I'm
even
not.
more.
Yeah, I want y'all to call me out when I'm wrong. That way I can grow. I can learn.
You came in here with some freaking YouTube
Y'all heard
number
him.
of the beast rhetoric and didn't even understand how he was miscomparison. That's a word I just made up.
Yeah, no,
Miscomparison.
It was weird because he's been here for like 3 days. Like past 3 days, he's been on the panels. It was like out of nowhere. It's like whoa.
You know what I love about Pete? Pete goes in depth, brutally in depth with what he explains. I've spent hours watching his stuff before, and I've got to give him kudos for that.
He's cool though. Maxwell seemed cool to me. It's all about asking questions, and if we don't understand something, let's try simplify it. That's what I think it's all about. Like children must be.
No, I totally agree, man. That's it. Einstein said that. True intelligence is finding a simple answer to a complex thing.
And look at how complex his answer to everything is, right? So that tells you something in itself, right?
Yeah, but a lot of that's backed with evidence there as well. Like,
yeah, so
objective and subjective.
right?
I just want to let you guys know now. I'm gonna do like about the 15-minute warning. Good.
Cool, man. It's like.
When are you going to give us the 15-minute warning, Sean?
What? Say it again.
Got to give us the 15-minute warning.
Yeah, just letting you know. So if you guys get into a conversation or something happens in 15 minutes when I go, hey, I'm ending the stream, you guys are
All right.
like, wait, what's going on?
All right, so I'll wait. When are you going to give us that warning now?
I just did.
I need to share this. I need to share this for clarity.
Everything in the world is either a potato or not a potato.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you heard of last Thursdayism?
Yes.
Everything was created last Thursday.
Was it?
What?
Yeah, man.
What did you just say?
Everything was created last Thursday, man. Everything. And you can't disprove it. It's crazy.
Are you on drugs?
It's kind of a thought exit. Well, no,
it's
actually,
philosophy.
some people do
It's a
hold
philosophical
position.
idea.
Oh, okay.
But if you imagine that everything was created last Thursday, including you with all your memories intact as they are, how would you be able to distinguish that from what you believe is the chronological reality that you've experienced?
How can you disprove it? How what's the?
They can measure the length of time that it takes things to degrade and to grow.
Yeah, but that was created last Thursday. You see how it's this paradox.
So after it was
just
created,
made it. Whoever created it just made it look old.
Well, it started off as a philosophical idea and tried to branch into a religion, and then they argued it, and then it ended up as a philosophical conundrum.
Yeah, that's why I don't like philosophy. It's a load of bollocks.
I love it personally.
after it was created,
I like a bit of
started taking time to create.
No, I don't.
You need
I don't.
philosophy for science, right?
I like religious philosophy as well. I mean, that's
it's even worse. Oh no.
Well, I like the worst things in life.
Let's see how you could
Religious philosophy probably about it.
But the question is there: how can we rule out that everything wasn't created last Thursday or for
Well,
that
you
matter,
can't.
this morning as we woke up?
Really can't.
Why not say this morning as we woke up from our slumber?
Well, it could have been 2 seconds ago. We could be in an eternal loop.
It's just there isn't a particular reason to believe that to be true. So
The whole idea is you can't disprove it.
right, you can't disprove it, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. So I'm going to go.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm going to go with what the case seems like.
I'm going to go
We
with
could
what
all
I
be
feel is right.
So
Yeah.
it would have to be a systematic way of going about proving that categorically that it can, in terms of probabilities anyway, that it couldn't be the case. I mean, of course, we can all see a good sort of pathway down that way, because like if we started from this day all cooperating and recording thoughts, next Thursday would come along, and there'd be every reason then to assume that, of course, Thursday didn't just arrive out of nowhere. There was a preceding Thursday that we all have memories from as well. So we could
I
grant
just
that
don't understand
existence.
why it would be created and then suddenly start operating completely differently in order to create itself. So like if I have CDs sitting on my table, they're created right on my table instantaneously. But then to get more CDs on my table, I gotta like go to Amazon, I gotta buy them, I gotta wait for the UPS guy to deliver it.
My question
What's
is,
up?
why are you using CDs?
Because they're on my desk in my face, yo. It's a good example though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it was a good example.
I just like jokes. Sorry, I'm a fool.
Okay.
What's wrong with CDs, yo?
Well, for me, it comes back to, I'm going to say
What's
the
wrong
same.
with cassettes and
You're gonna have
vinyls, yo?
creator. There's no
Right.
coincidence. Creator comes from a creator.
What's wrong with the xylophone, yo?
Right.
No, I'm a pianist, so I love music.
You're what?
I'm a pianist.
You don't have to talk about yourself like that.
I have a penis, but I am a pianist.
We said that already.
I just like repeating myself.
Oh, is
I
that what
like
it is?
repeating myself. That's what it is.
Some guys can't hear a
That's what
woman's
it
voice
is.
without talking about
Echolalia?
Yes. Sorry, we're not letting the lady speak. I apologize.
Sean is a penis too.
What?
Well, that's nice
Jay.
information. That's good information.
That's weird.
I'll
but,
try and apply that to my daily life. Thank you.
Yes, please do.
Oh, crap.
That's just happened. Thanks, Jay. Do you want to mute yourself again?
That did happen.
Better off that way.
I think they just totally disproved your created Thursday shit.
Well, I don't believe it. I believe.
Does anybody believe that? Like, is that like a stance someone's running around with ever?
Some people, very, very, very few.
That a college that you pay $50,000 for waste your time on because it's a thought experiment.
I hate thought experiments. They never come out to anything.
I like social economics.
There's this woman who goes around and she does programs where she shows people how racist they really are.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh,
lady.
isn't she a saint?
Yeah, no,
She
she's
divides people into groups and she does like this reverse racism thing where she puts all the whites in a room and takes everyone else in a different room and tells them that they have to not like those people because those people think they're better than everyone else.
it's really dishonest though. I've watched some of that. It's really dishonest.
She's actually stole that from a teacher.
Ooh, I didn't even say a name. I'm talking about a really old lady, dude.
Yeah, it's this old lady. She's kind of short with white hair.
Didn't it start with eye color? She did it years in the 70s.
She
And
separated people with blue eyes from people
that's
with
right. Yeah, I watched that study. Yeah, and it's mob mentality. You know what I mean. There's this study that shows
that's a good thought experiment that teaches people something.
It does. It raises awareness. This story too. You're in a crowded place. You're in a city. You're walking down. There's hundreds of people in the street. Someone gets mugged. It's more unlikely that somebody will help that person than it would be if there was 2 or 3 people on that street. And the science is behind it is because the people thinking, oh, someone's got to join in. Someone's got to save this woman. So I'll wait. They'll do it. But everyone's thinking that. The fewer the people, then you look at yourself to be that person to intervene.
Well, yeah, because everybody thinks somebody else is going to do it.
Exactly.
But the way, at least in my limited experience watching 2 or 3 of the shows that she did, she makes it seem like it's inherent that you're racist, and you just need to accept that you're racist, and then make artificial compensations to try to not be racist anymore.
Racism is taught.
Right. Yeah, it's a learned behavior. But
yes.
That's not the way she portrayed it, at least in my experience. And I haven't seen everything she did, but in what I saw, she made it seem like it was just inherent in white people.
I don't
She's
think
probably
that's what it is. I think you're taking inherent and replacing the words what's the systematic? What's the word?
Systemic, and I don't think it's
That's what it is. See, because there are some people who really are thinking that they do have more rights than other people, and that's just
It's called the upper class.
right. And that can turn into like this kind of racism.
But the problem is, the upper class is a mix. It's a diverse mix of different people who look down upon the working class, especially in Britain anyway. You know, we go by class, not race. I mean, Britain is the most diverse country, one of the most diverse places on fucking earth.
Yeah, but in America, it's not like that.
Well, I'd argue it is in a way. It's very diverse, but I do understand you've got a race war at the minute over there. And
I'm not going to say that there's a war. I would just say that there are people that are still clung to very old ideas, and they're not progressive in some areas. And then there are people that are like overly progressive, and the mix is very toxic.
Yeah, we're in a dangerous time.
Well, there's a lot of virtue signaling, and I think that's
and demagoguery.
Right. That's as big of an issue because so many people like want to run out and be like, "Look how not racist I am," and then you got white people out there saying, "Fuck white people." You notice they never say "fuck white people" when there's only white people around.
Hey Cliff, can I ask you a quick question? What would you say the American people would do? Or what would you do yourself as a serving member of the military forces if you found out that Will Smith played the role of Barack Obama and Osama bin Laden?
He had to bring it back. He had to. You could not let this be a serious conversation.
Well,
they're talking about black people.
I know that's true.
I'd turn that question on you, Pete.
They're talking about black people. According to Pete, the only black person in the world is Will Smith.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that? You didn't know?
Imagine that was true for a second. Now I know that.
Every time you talk about it, Pete, that's what I got to imagine.
Did you jump overboard, Cliff?
Do you think Will Smith is Lawrence Fishburne?
He thinks he's Samuel L. Jackson. He's got those two.
No, Michael. Will Smith is Barack Obama.
What? Are you?
No.
You being serious, mate? Do you genuinely think this is a conspiracy?
Following me, Freeman. You know, if you've been following me, I've been saying that all over the place. No one can.
I've been very busy lately with my creative arts.
I don't know you, man. I don't know you, though.
So I've stepped away from the whole scene for a while.
Have you done the analysis then? That's all I'll ask you. And I don't dare anybody, even though these two people are two most famous black men in America, almost.
Wait a minute! I can name more than
the other one get elected. You won't be able to find more than 3 images on the whole internet.
I challenge that. I'd say Bill Cosby's more popular than Obama.
What about Dr. King? Have you ever heard of Dr. King?
Yeah, what about Martin Luther King?
I'm talking about living. These are friends. Hang on, these are friends.
Jr. What makes you think Martin Luther King is dead?
No, he's not. That's more fakery, man. JFK.
So he's not dead.
No, he's not dead. No.
Oh my God!
What?
Neither is Bobby Kennedy. Neither is JFK. It's all a stage.
Nobody dies because they just switch roles.
Sean, do me a favor. Sean, do me a favor. Bring up
amazing things.
Donald Trump released the JFK files.
Hey, you can't
Ronald
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan is Donald Trump.
Pete, you can't see me doing it. Pete, you can't see me doing it. But I'm literally shaking my head no every time you say pull up. No, I'm not pulling up any JFK shit.
No.
Pretty sure. Wait, Menace to Sobriety points us. I'm pretty sure Pete already knows that.
I'm Vladimir Putin.
As weird as that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know right now, Pete. We don't have time for that because this stream's about to end in about 2 seconds.
I'll bring it up then as my last.
I'm Jesus Christ. See you in a bit, guys.
Matter of fact, does anybody want to say anything? Say that you got something out, whatever.
Yes, I want to say I'm Jesus Christ, and the nations, the nations of the world are just going to fall
nice to meet you, Freeman.
off the edge.
The flat earthers love to hate on Admiral Byrd, and they say that the government killed him, but I am Admiral Byrd.
They say the earth is flat, but I'm here to tell you it's on the tip of my penis.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Farmers, you want to bring us back?
I would say check out my channels, Gem Panda 2012 and Debate Flat Earth and more.
Yep. The
Yeah,
link
what he said.
links in the
And thank you very much for the hangout, Sean.
Yeah,
Thank
cheers,
you,
dude. This has been fun, man. I've enjoyed it. Take care, guys.
Yeah, and the link, like
All
I
right.
said,
And you.
Jim's
See you later.
channel and the Debate Flat Earth channel on in Discord
I
are
get
down the
that.
link in the description.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
Flat Earth Roast is great.
Cool, man.
Yes.
Take care, guys.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go
All
ahead and end it. Channel, do you got anything else coming out, or did you?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video. I'm making a couple videos right now.
Awesome.
They're just silly. They're just silly.
I like them anyway.
They're gonna be like, silly.
Well,
Silly, like totally silly.
Channel Q's channel. Her link is in the description as well. Check her out.
Yep. Come see my debate on Saturday night, 8 Eastern.
Against who?
Zoom Truth on Fight the Flat Earth channel.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, that might be interesting.
You know this is gonna be a fucking slaughter, man. Just
I'm gonna be nice. I'm
please,
always
Schrödingers,
nice.
do me a favor.
I'm always nice.
I know you are, but do me a favor. Try to be like, don't like be both hammering him at once, because I think he's got like a
Oh
disorder.
no! It's just
No,
me.
no,
It's just
goes
me.
to one at a
It's
time.
one-on-one. Craig's just the moderator. It's a
I
one-on-one
really
time
wish you'd
debate.
go after the guy who gives him all his propaganda.
I have
'Cause
tried.
that guy could handle himself.
I have
All right,
tried.
listen, my parting glass is, well, this is the JFK Eternal Flame Memorial. Well, say what you see, it's a crater, right? And it's in reference to, well, the one and only crater, Aristarchus. JFK
There's a
was
pipe in the ground.
associated with the Camelot, the killing of the king, it was called. This is King Arthur, the Christ-like figure, the central figure that causes the sun and all of the luminaries. Aristarchus in the center. Cheers, Sean. Cheers.
So that's how I need
Matt,
to
well,
be.
nice speaking to you. And until the next time, guys.
Pete, thank you, Pete.
Yeah, Pete. Take care. I want to know more about that next time I'll speak to you.
Yeah, hey Pete, do you want to do that Pete thing, the one-on-one again, the part 2 soon?
Yeah, we can do that sometime next week, Sean. No panic, right? Excellent.
No worries. Perfect.
Cool. See you in a bit, guys. Bye bye.
All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna end the hangout. So, guys, I'm tired. You know how it works. Go check out. I gotta get it up there. Jay Alex is he's got a 24-hour music thing he's doing now. I'll have the link in my description as soon as I can get to it. And thank everyone for being in, hanging out. I know it was a long, drawn out, had a few Pete spots in it, but I like Pete. I don't care. Tomorrow I wanted to get into the discussion of gravity. It'll be a limited panel, so it'll be a request link, and maybe you'll get one, maybe you won't. But I do want to get in this discussion about it, and there's a few questions I actually have about it to better understand what's going on. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I think Dr. Bob handled Riley sufficiently enough on this subject. So, Riley, you lost your chance. So, goodbye. But yeah, other than that, tomorrow's gonna be a good one. Tomorrow will be a little bit slower pace and packed with more information because I'm gonna try to get a hold of Barney, Dr. Bob. I'm gonna get Dr. Bob, Blue, and Barney on the panel. That'd be awesome to have them on and have a discussion about this. So I'm gonna start getting those requests out there and see what they're up to for tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Guys, I appreciate the shit out of you guys being here. Thank you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.